This is Jocko Podcast number 407 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
We all face challenges. We all have setbacks. We all suffer. When these difficulties hit, some people break. They surrender. They let circumstances, fate, and events that unfold control their attitude, dictate their emotional state, and determine their destiny. They adopt a defeatist attitude of negativity. They accept failure. They curl up in a ball and wait for the clock to run out. They quit. But there are other people who are diametrically opposed to that attitude. People who, in spite of incredible challenges, adapt and overcome. Of every person I have ever met in my life, Travis Mills has faced the most traumatic, intense, and brutal challenges a human being could face. And he faces these severe challenges continuously, every day, over and over again. And yet, he has the best attitude of anyone I know or have ever known. His emotional state is always positive. His humor is always on point. His mentality is pure strength of will. Despite suffering the most horrific wounds imaginable, he chooses his own destiny and is unstoppable in his drive and commitment to live life. Travis Mills is one of my friends, one of my heroes, and the most inspiring human being I have ever met. Travis received injuries beyond all comprehension. While serving in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan, an improvised explosive device big enough to destroy a vehicle ripped off his arms and legs, leaving him a quadruple amputee. In that moment of shock and despair, when most people would be focused on themselves, Travis's first response was directing the medics tending to him to care for his fellow soldiers instead. He thought he was going to die. Against the odds, and thanks to the skill and determination of those medics, he lived. But his battle was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Upon returning to America, he started an almost unbearable journey of recovery and recalibration. Countless surgeries, excruciating pain, hallucinations, fighting to stay alive. Then, he had to learn how to live again. He had to learn to utilize prosthetic limbs. He had to learn how to walk, eat, and accomplish seemingly ordinary tasks like getting dressed and brushing his teeth. He also had to recreate his identity now that he could no longer serve in his beloved army. And, most important, he had to recalculate and reimagine how he could be the husband and father he knew his family deserved. This was not an easy path. I cannot think of anything in life more difficult to overcome. Yet, Travis has achieved exactly that. He has excelled in every aspect of life. He is an author, a business owner, the founder of a powerful charity organization, a speaker, and a devoted family man. He is a recognized source of laughter and light to all who encounter him. Without question, Travis Mills has turned tragedy into triumph and victimhood into victory. In the game of life, Travis Mills is the undisputed champion. And that right there is an excerpt from the foreword, which I had the honor of writing to a new book, which is called Bounce Back, 12 Warrior Principles to Reclaim and Recalibrate Your Life, which is written by Travis Mills, the man himself. Travis has been on this podcast before, over 6 years ago, actually, episode 90, where we discussed his first book, which is called Tough as They Come. And if you haven't read that book or listened to that podcast, go listen to that podcast and read that book to learn about the life of Travis Mills, where he came from, what he went through. But if you want to learn how he got through it, and what he learned from it and the principles that he has to pass on, then get this book, Bounce Back. We can all learn so much from Travis, and it is an honor to have him here with us tonight to discuss his life and some of these lessons learned. Travis.
I mean, that was so good. I don't know what I should say because you always, I mean, it's impressive. I'm over here with goosebumps thinking like, man, this guy sounds awesome. Whoever he's reading about, what a cool, I mean, I want to know that guy.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. To be honest with you, I almost never talk in like absolute terms. Think about it. You know, it's really difficult to say someone is the most inspirational person you've ever met in your life. I don't throw those things out there lightly, but this is the truth, man. Like, I have never met anyone that inspires me as much as you do. And so, like I said, I don't speak in those terms. If you listen, Claude, I'm always very careful. Because when you say someone's like the best, you're basically dissing everyone else. Like if I'm doing jiu-jitsu with someone and they're really, really good, they might even be a world champion, I'll still be like careful about saying, oh, they're the best person I've ever trained with. Yeah. Because there's some other people that, oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, I appreciate that because obviously you wake up every day and look in the mirror at yourself. And I mean, everybody gets motivated. Even my wife today, she before we flew out here to California, she took a picture of her watch. It was 4:54. She goes, "Who am I, Jocko?" She's a little late, but either way, no. And I appreciate that. And I'll tell you, I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu myself. I was at the camp. I started on the white belt mat day 1. You know, not knowing what I was doing, and by day 2, I was on the black belt. So I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
How did you feel? Have you kept training?
I went one other time just because of scheduling. I plan on going not next week. No, maybe next Wednesday. But was it fun? It is fun. But there's some people. One guy in particular did not like when I tapped him out. He actually was pretty upset, and I saw him the other time I went and trained, and he didn't really make eye contact with me, but he was upset, and I get it because I'm handicapped. But what people don't realize is like we used to do ground fighting tactics like 3 days a week, and when I was in the military. So like I understand the concept. And with me, it's so hard. You either got to choke me out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. You're difficult to leg lock.
Yeah,
you're difficult to arm lock.
Yeah,
you got to choke you. You know what I realized when we were talking was, for you to do exercise is like there's only so many limited moves that you can do, and so like doing jiu-jitsu, you totally were doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, and that's got to be so much more fun than the kind of normal. I mean, for me, jiu-jitsu is more fun than running, more fun than swimming. It's more fun than lift. It's more fun than any Echo Charles support. Correct. It's more fun 100%. Than any form of exercise.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And I used more muscles I haven't used in years.
Oh, dude. Were you sore the next day?
Yeah. But I was like playing it off. I'm like, I'm not sore. I'm like, oh, let's go again. I'm ready. But then I go to Pete's. And where he trains in his gym there, he's like, I want to feel like it's Brazil. So the doors are closed, the windows are closed. He's probably I think he had the heat on, pumping humidity in the air somehow.
And then did he play Brazilian
music
too?
Oh, he did. And I'm like, okay, how do I get more air in my lungs? Like I was going against Ian. Yeah. And I got to the point where I'm like, Ian, you're not going to tap me, but I'm telling you right now, like I can't breathe. Like I'm going to need to take a minute here.
Yeah, that's tapping, by the way.
Yeah, well,
just saying that counts.
I understand that. I'm just saying he didn't choke me. He didn't choke me out. Okay, but you're right. And then, like I spent like $50,000 on a brand new gym at my house. I got a sauna. My wife's got a Peloton. I got a tonal machine. And let me tell you something. The 2 times I've worked out in there for the gram, those posts have went very well. So you know what I'm saying? Like do it for the gram, and for my health. I need to do it for my health.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I know you were an athlete. Again, go listen to Podcast 90 if you haven't, or get the book Tough as They Come, because you were an athlete growing up, and like you. It's real obvious that you were an athlete growing up when I trained with you. Like when I trained jiu-jitsu with you, you can just feel you have like you're strong as hell, and the way you move is like a little crazy. And
I think I actually punched you with my left, my nub. Your eyes went red. And I was like, oh, this is how I die, because the way you snap from like, oh yeah, try this, and then to like, I'm gonna eat you. It scared me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And you see the film actually. They have the video where I'm like, I'm sorry. You just keep going. I'm like, I just punched him right in the forehead.
That's the way jiu-jitsu is. Jiu-jitsu is a full contact evolution. Like you're gonna get jacked, you're gonna get punched, you're gonna get hit in the face, head butted. Like everything's gonna happen, and it's just kind of the way it is.
And I mean, I just got my little arm, like a little bone there, that secret weapon. I love it.
Yeah, you definitely have some techniques to develop because, like in Echo, like in his arm, his shorter arm, there's like a bone in there.
Yeah,
and it's like having an elbow at the end of your arm or something like that. So when you grind it in there, it didn't feel good. Yeah. We'll say that.
Did I show you when you were there? Or no, did I push it into your chest?
No.
I'll do it.
I'm sorry. No, you will.
But it's some form of HO that like when your bone breaks, it like grows funny. Yeah. And they were supposed to like it grew so hard. I mean, so pointed that it was bruising my skin from the inside out when I was putting my right prosthetic arm on. And then they wanted to like cut you open and grind it down. Right. And it would took me out of my recovery for like 2 weeks or something like that. And I said, no, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. So my buddy was like, just hit it on the table and it'll chip the bone. So I just like hit it on the table repeatedly for like 45 minutes until finally I was like, I think I might have rounded it out. And I did. It rounded out enough. Like it doesn't bother me anymore.
Where are the chips?
They just float around, I think.
Just in there. Just got consumed.
Fragment. Yeah.
So we were talking before we hit record, like your reason behind writing this book, 12. Did I read the 12 Warrior Principles to Reclaim? Okay, so that's like the subtitle, 12 Warrior Principles to Reclaim and Recalibrate Your Life. Which can we say you took that from Jordan Peterson, who had like the like the best-selling book for the last like 10 years?
This is the second time I heard this today, and I was like, I don't even read books, so I have no idea if that's what they did, because I didn't pick that. The publisher was like, hey, we're going to do this. And I was like, if that's what you think, but I don't know who that guy even is. Okay. And here's the thing, like I should, because it's embarrassing because on the drive down, my buddy Max, who lives in Temecula, he's a Paralympian, like in track and field and Navy corpsman. And I called him up, see how far he was away and whatnot. He goes, did you steal that? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, okay. And I'm like, no, seriously, I don't like read books. Like if it's not Audible. So like now I feel embarrassed where I'm like, well,
not only did you write a book called 12 Rules for Life, he wrote another book that's called 12 More Rules.
Well, this is well, did he cover the you know what? I have no idea. I didn't do that. But I mean, look.
The cool thing is, he would love this book. So I'll send him a copy of this thing.
I mean, I don't want to get mad at me because I didn't even know he existed before.
That's probably what he'd be more mad about.
Yeah, but just because I'm not a learned man.
He's been one of the most you know what I mean? Covered figures in the news for the past like five years.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we had him on this podcast. He's been on a few times. The first time he was on, he wasn't really popular yet.
Yeah,
and so he came on and it was sort of like cool. He wasn't quite. Then after that one, he just went Richter. He did an interview with the BBC, and this woman was kind of questioning him, and he was just kind of calm, cool, and collected. And she kept saying, "So you're saying?" And she would like take his words and kind of try and make them sound a little bit different. Yeah. And he was like, "No, I'm not saying that." And it was just it was an interesting interview to watch, and it got tens of millions of views. And then his book came out, and then it just all went crazy, and he became like a really, really popular guy. And he's a super nice guy. He's even to this day, like he's a super nice guy. He's always been cool to me. He's been cool to us the whole time. Like he didn't change. Like when he became from just like a normal kind of person to he's got to be the most famous psychologist. Echo.
Yeah,
I mean, before this book comes out, November 7th. But
again, once your book comes out, obviously.
But so here's the thing, like. I don't know. I didn't know this coming down. I catch your guys' podcast when I have time to drive, but usually it's a lot of windshield time. So I catch the ones that I can, but I don't read a lot. Just like flipping pages is hard for me, and it's like a total excuse. I know that.
Do you do audiobooks or something?
I do. I catch some audiobooks. I listen to this Book of Extreme Ownership. I did.
I've heard that one was good.
Yeah. Real good. Real good. There's two guys that narrate. They're just fantastic. But I do a lot of audiobooks just because I can't like flip pages that well. And I mean, I know it sounds soft to me. Like I probably could figure it out, but then I don't know. Reading puts me to sleep.
Yeah, reading. I read because I have to read. Sometimes I want to read, but like when I was growing up, I didn't read barely anything. Like when I was in high school and stuff, I didn't read barely anything. I don't think I completed a book in high school.
I read one when I was.
Do you remember what it was?
Oh, I do.
What?
Where the Red Fern Grows. And let me tell you something. I want to ruin it for everybody, but I'm going to. When those dogs died, it wrecked me. I walked across the hall to my sister's room, full tears. Dan Little Ann died? Are you kidding me?
Well,
and I quit
what's
reading
the
books.
book about? I don't know what the book is about.
Like backwoods, something they're like they're
is it about dogs? Is it like dogs? Is it about humans, or is it like the dogs are humans?
Like, no, it's humans. And then these two dogs are like hunting dogs. And
Can they talk and stuff like that?
No, I don't remember. It was 5th grade. Okay. But I do remember, like, I'm done reading. Like, this just ruined me. I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, if you read my first book, you're gonna find out I got blown up. You know, it's sad. I didn't even see it coming. But, you know, it's weird being 36 now because I got 2 feet in the grave. You know what I mean? But, like, I mean, sorry.
I was, just reviewing. Like I said, I re-reviewed the first book. Yeah. I listened to when you were on the podcast again. And, you were 25 when you got blowed up.
Yep. And I didn't even see it coming. I know. I mean, I always thought I'd retire from the military, but I didn't know I could just do it that fast. Very fast. Yeah.
Do not pass. Go straight to medical retirement.
Yeah, just there. I just, I want it. I got it.
So going back to the question that I veered off on, what was kind of the reason that you ended up writing this book? You were saying this because people would ask you, like, dude, how do you basically? Which I could see you probably get asked that thousands of times.
Yeah.
How do you do it, man?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean. The worst, people are always like, how do you do this? Or like, I don't know, like how you're able to just be so, cool with it and and I was always like, well, I have to, like real simple to the point, like I have to. It's kind of like, and this is, veering off, but like at my foundation there, we bring out the, I sounded very, very Minnesota right there at my foundation there, but I didn't mean to. But we did the veterans that have been through.
You do you?
Yeah. Oh, don't you know? So we bring out the veterans and their families, physically injured veterans, and we show them how to do things adaptively. But everybody's always like, "What do you do for post-traumatic stress?" And I was like, well, there's these 2 programs that I highly recommend: Home Base and Warrior Path. And they have their own things set up. Blah blah blah. Well, we became a chapter of Warrior Path program, so we offer it now. And when people were asking me, like, how do you do it? Like, this will be miserable and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I have to. And I was like, maybe I should break that down. And not only break it down, because I feel like a lot of times people will look at me like, oh, my gosh, well, I have this going on, but there's nothing compared to your situation. And I got to remind them, like, your biggest problem is your biggest problem. You know what I mean? You can't compare what happened to me to what you're going through. So I took stories of, drug addiction. There was a sexual assault, like a child sexual assault case. There was a widower, cancer survivor, things like that. People go through every day. A house fire and a divorce, and how they got to the very bottom, and then how they like climbed their way back out. And then because I had a collaborative author, Kathy Huck, who's a research author, she went and found the medical, because I said, there's got to be medical research and theories on why your mind does this or your brain's able to think a certain way. So we put those at the end of the chapters that we had in there.
Yeah, no, that was clever how you got someone that was smart to help you in this book.
Because I left college because I just couldn't focus on the whole schoolwork.
Yeah.
But then I found as long as I get blown up and I look handicapped and people are like, oh my gosh, he can walk and talk, that's amazing, I can find someone to do the work for me,
Guilt trip them into it.
Oh yeah, that's all my life. I get pulled over all the time. I'm like, oh, my foot got stuck, I'm sorry, I just couldn't feel it. Heck, the state troopers in Maine gave me my own badge. Like, I got my own badge.
What are you driving? Are you driving a Bronco?
I have the Bronco.
Is that thing like a Raptor Bronco, or is it a regular Bronco?
They didn't have the Raptor Bronco when I bought it. Okay. But it's all the wild tracks and Sasquatch stance.
It's all souped up.
It's awesome. I like it. And I drive that just it's gonna sound bougie, but I only drive in the summer. I don't want to get it any salt on it. Yeah. So I drive it with the top off. And here's a dumb thing. I know we're veering here. The dumb thing is I waited. They were like, hey, for the 2021s, we can get you a soft top, not a hard top. I'm like, I want the hard top. That's what I put in for. And I'm gonna wait. So I got the hard top, and then I take the doors and top off all summer long, so I don't even use it. And then when the winter comes, I have a Yukon that I drive, an older Yukon. I got an American flag grill in it, all blacked out. It's tinted illegally, but again, I got that special badge. And my registration I keep inside the badge that the state troopers gave me. So I'm like, oh, it's in here if you can just find it in there. Shit. I mean, get out of jail free card. Monopoly's a game, but this is my life,
Freaking awesome.
Sorry.
All right. So let's go into the book a little bit and start with this section here. You say, we all have a moment in our lives we'll never forget, a moment that completely changes our life's trajectory. For me, it was not the blistering hot day in Afghanistan on April 10th, 2012, when I dropped my backpack and inadvertently set off an IED intended for a truck. It was not the day that nearly killed me and left me seriously injured, although I will say that day was a really, really bad day at the office. No, my moment came some 18 months later, sitting alone at my in-laws' bedroom on a small Texas ranch. As I sat on the edge of the bed, I looked at a young soldier staring back at me from a small sterling silver picture frame, sporting a bright orange baseball hat and a toothpaste ad-worthy smile. The soldier stood proudly in uniform, flanked by his squad, grinning in the Afghan sun. That soldier was me, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Travis Mills of the 82nd Airborne Division. The picture was only taken 2 years earlier, but it might as well have been another lifetime. I was no longer that man in the image and never would be again. That was the moment I felt helpless, enraged, despondent, afraid, all at once. And we all have those moments. I had a hard realization. My military days were over and I would never wear a uniform again. I would never give orders to my men again. I would not fight for my country again. I was no longer Staff Sergeant Travis Mills serving on his third tour of duty in Afghanistan. In the Army, everything had been laid out for me. There was always a clear mission and a thorough strategy to execute it. I always knew what I needed to do and how to get it done. Now it was all just so unknown. I know I am not supposed to admit this, especially as a former member of the 82nd Airborne, but my eyes welled up. I blubbered between deep gulps of air, trying to catch my breath. Luckily, my wife, Kelsey, walked in at that moment. I used what was left of my right arm to wipe my eyes as she sat down next to me. As soon as she saw my blotchy face, she looked into my eyes and, rubbing my back, reassured me, everything is going to be okay. We have each other. And you know we can get through anything. It's all going to be fine. She didn't say much else. She didn't have to. Just being there helped. I knew she was right. Kelsey and my daughter had been with me every step of the way while I recovered at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. My parents, her parents, and my extended family were also so supportive. My fellow soldiers had my back and still do. I knew I was one of the lucky ones. There were plenty of fellow soldiers who didn't get to go home. There were others who had made it but didn't have the kind of support that I had. Some still carried the weight of war, which seemed nearly impossible to get past. In that moment, in Kelsey's arms, I made the conscious decision not to let the enemy win. I had to grieve for that person in the picture, or I couldn't move forward. I thought, okay, I am no longer that Travis. That's the old Travis. The whiteboard has been erased. I have a pen in my hand, and I can totally start anew. I began to see life as two choices. You move forward or backward. What I wanted in my life was in front of me, not the one in that photo anymore. Though the man in that photo was gone, to me the choice was clear. Damn if I don't hate that I will never feel the skin of my wife's hand in mine or throw my son in the air to catch him, but there was only one direction to go, and that was forward. You know what struck me about that is, I mean, you have such a clear, distinct moment where you talk about that, but like that's where we're all at. Like everyone, we're all at this point where you have to go forward. You can't wish for what was and what could have been and woulda, shoulda, coulda. That stuff doesn't help and doesn't move you anywhere. You had that like distinct moment. Boom.
You know, and my thing is, I'm always a guy telling jokes, making people feel comfortable. I'm always having a good laugh. And at the hospital, I became a mentor, right? I was an older guy. At 25, I was an old guy that got injured. I was a staff sergeant in a lot of privates. And, you know, when I was in the service, I had a clear, this is my job, this is my role, people look up to me. When I got injured, this is my job, my role, people look up to me. I wanted to retire. I fought to retire. I wanted to get out of there as quick as possible, you know, within the means of like I can do everything that I need to be able to do or required to do, but it's time to move on. And then I did. And I got home and that picture was up there. And I mean, this is, honestly, this is the first time I've talked about it. Like this book coming out is the first time I've talked about this moment because I never showed that side of me. I don't know why. Everybody think like, oh, it's okay, whatever. But no, Kelsey walked in and I was just tears just down my face. And I was like, I'm just not that guy. I'm no longer Staff Sergeant Travis Mills, leader of combat soldiers. Best job I ever had. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. And, I wanted to retire. The military, good, bad, or different from people here on the news or in all the stuff, but the VA, like I have a very, very, well taken care of like plan of care and I have a pension and things like that. So like I'm good and I appreciate that. But just I was lost. I was lost completely and I didn't know what I was going to do. And luckily, I mean, I had some sort of foundation of, okay, well, we started the foundation. We have speaking that's starting to pick up for me. And my documentary was being done by Reese and Katie Norris. And Reese was there helping me along as well as my father-in-law who works with me every day. And we lived in my in-laws because our house in Maine wasn't built yet. But yeah, I play it off as, we joke, we have fun. But when you think back, I'm like, even taking a step further, like I'm always like, oh yeah, 19 months I recovered at Walter Reed. And then I was like out. It's like, that was 19 months. There were some days that were terrible. The first day I walked was great. Second day I tried to walk, I couldn't. I fell over, my legs cramped up, my muscles spasmed, and I couldn't move. And I felt so defeated that day. And then, after 19 months of being at Walter Reed, and then you forget. So I'm not sure if you guys have that in your life where you forget the tough times.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, no, that was terrible. But it's like, I can remember just sitting at the end of the bed saying like, who am I and what am I doing? And this is, I mean, maybe on top, maybe not. I had a lady that came up to house sit across the lake from us at the foundation. Her friend was like, hey, you know what, by the way, you're a traveling nurse, but you should know there's a guy over here who's in the service. He lost both arms and legs, and he's made something out of it. And she goes, what? Who's this guy? And the nurse was very excited, like very like over the top, like, who is this? And she goes, his name's Travis Mills, but here's a picture of him. And she recognized the diamonds on my arm. She worked on me in Afghanistan.
Dang.
And now she has moved up. She's a volunteer. And I've had her speak a few times, for the foundation. And she's admitted openly, she's embarrassed about it, but she admitted openly when she was working on me on the table, she was in her head saying, like, why don't we let him die? He can die with some dignity. And it's the same thought I had when I woke up in the hospital. It's like, this is my Lieutenant Dan, right? My moment, like, why didn't I just die? How is this going to be better? But then I get out of the hospital. I met every requirement they put in front of me to retire, and it's time to go on with my life. Okay, you're out. Go forth and do some, good stuff, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And it was a hard realization of like, okay, I've done everything the military needs of me. Now what?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was just thinking about, by chance, this part of the book is in the forward of the book. It's not chapter 1, it's in the forward. And it's like the lesson is you have to be moving forward. You have to be like thinking about where am I going to go now? And, I'm always talking to guys that are getting out of the military, and you got to find your next mission, right? And so this is a classic case because when you're in Walter Reed, you have a mission. It's like, oh, I'm going to freaking learn to walk. I'm going to get on my big legs. I'm going to do that. You got to have a mission every single day. You're trying to get something done. And then all of a sudden you did it all.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you're out. You're retired, out of the military. What are you going to do now? Who are you going to become?
I relied on my military training because when I was becoming an NCO, they said, what's the job of an NCO, non-commissioned officer? And it's to provide purpose and direction. And I forgot that, right? Somewhere along the way, I forgot that I need to have my own purpose and direction. And then slowly but surely, after I got out and retired, was at my in-laws' house for the 3 months, then been to Michigan for 3 months, just trying to escape the hot summer, and then moved up to Maine to our house. I had to find my purpose and my direction I was going to go. And I mean, luckily I was able to, kind of rely on a lot of my military training for that stuff, just like the mindset stuff they teach you and things like that.
Get some. All right. Now we're going to roll into these principles a little bit. And again, this book is, I'm going to read like a few little tiny sections of the book. The book is got all kinds of, like you said, there's a lot of stories in here that people that you've met, people that have overcome things similar to yours, and you align and explain what they did to get through something and how you did that thing to get through it. And then you've got this sort of, the academic side explaining why that's happening. So it's an outstanding book to explain these principles, give multiple examples, and then tell why it's happening. So it's an awesome book. Did a great job. The woman that helped you did a really good job.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, though, research authors, they are very thorough.
Yeah.
Like I literally hired a PR firm for like, oh yeah, I'm having a book. I'm gonna hire a PR firm with some of the advance or whatever. And then year 2 hit, and I was like, what? I thought it was gonna take 6 months. That first book took like 5 months, I think, and we had it done.
Yeah, she had to research some stuff.
Oh,
but it pays off.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I was surprised that.
Yeah, she's gonna be thorough.
Yeah.
Check.
I wish I would have been. I would have like checked the ground a little better, not just been like, man, this bag's heavy. Screw this. Plop it down.
All right. Principle number 1: that dog don't hunt. Stop torturing yourself and stop asking why. And you go into a story here. You got a buddy named David Vobora. Am I saying that right? Mm-hmm. And he's got a thing called the Adaptive Training Foundation in Dallas, Texas. And you went there and you were kind of hanging out. It wasn't, I don't think it was, you went, did some training sessions, but you end up crashing a barbecue. There's like 20 guys that are going through this week-long workshop, and you're sitting around, having some burgers and some beers. And then the conversation starts to get a little bit heavy. And you go into this section here. It says, one guy named Bruce, who'd been injured in a car accident and paralyzed from the waist down, spoke up. Quote, I just have to keep going because if I slow down, I'll just end up crying. The worst part of it all is that I don't understand why it happened to me. Joe, the head counselor, replied, let's dig into that. Oh, no, we won't, I thought. No, you don't, I said, this time aloud, my outburst surprising the group. I surprised myself, too. I meant to be lying back, just enjoying the bonfire. The counselor shot me a look and asked, what are you talking about? There's no digging into why because you're never going to get the answer you want. What do you mean? I get it. Bruce wants to understand why this was meant for him. At first, I did too. But the truth is, that dog don't hunt. What I mean by that is you're never going to get that answer. So why harp on it? You're only slowing yourself down from accepting something you can't change and moving on. As I live and breathe, I will never know the answer to why I had stood in that exact spot where there was an IED buried in the ground waiting for me. It's a fight you are not going to win ever, so why not make peace with it? And you go on to explain, talk more about that, but that principle right there, like people will tear themselves apart asking that question over and over again, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, and there's I have admitted this openly. Like some nights, I'd say once every 3-4 months, not continual. There's nights when it's dark and there's no sleep to be had right then, and your mind starts saying like, I can't believe this is the rest of my life. I have no arms and legs. Like what in the hell? Like how is this something that I was supposed to have happen to me, or why this happened? And you have those nights, and all I do is get up and go watch SportsCenter. I'm like, well, this is getting me nowhere. Because you're still going to have some doubt and things like that and some wonder. But to sit there every day and to sit there and think, well, why'd this happen? Could it be because of this? Did I do this? Like, was it because of – and you never get the answer. Like, nobody's going to tell me why I got blown up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know why the bomb was there, right? But I'm saying, like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Mm-hmm. And any time I get thinking about it, that's when I'm just like, stop. There's nothing to be had here. Yeah. Just misery,
You know what? So I did a podcast a long time ago about Lewis Puller Jr., who was the son of Chesty Puller, the Marine. Lewis Puller Jr. got wounded in Vietnam, lost both of his legs, had his hands jacked up really bad. He lost his legs at like the hips. Mm-hmm. Came home, had a really hard recovery, got addicted to alcohol, got addicted to painkillers, just really had a hard time. And he ended up writing this incredible book, which is called Fortunate Son. The book comes out. It gets a Pulitzer Prize. It's just like an incredible book. We covered the book on the podcast. And then he's participating in helping with the Vietnam Memorial Wall being built and judging the design and all this stuff. And then that thing gets dedicated. And he's kind of straightened his life back out. And then he falls out of his wheelchair. He gets hurt. They bring him to the hospital. He had stopped drinking, and they put him on like painkillers again. He goes right down in a spiral. He ends up killing himself. This is Chesty Puller's son, who joined the Marine Corps like his dad, ends up killing himself. I did that podcast, and then like a year later, I had another guy on my podcast, a guy named Jim Searlesley. Jim Searlesley was a guy who was in Vietnam. He had volunteered for the Army. He didn't get drafted. He joined the Army. And when he got his orders after basic, and he went to school as a tanker, he gets sent to Germany. Like in the middle of the Vietnam War, they sent him to Germany, and he's like getting done with his tour, and he says, hey, I feel like I should go to Vietnam. So he volunteers to go to Vietnam. His sergeant major's like, you need to think about this for the weekend or whatever. And he thinks about it over the weekend. It's like, look, I'm a soldier. I need to serve. Goes to Vietnam. He's in Vietnam for 11 months. Last month that he's there, he's got his squad out, and they're checking security, and he's checking their perimeter, and he steps on a landmine, gets blown up, loses both of his legs, loses one arm. He comes on the podcast, and this dude just lived like an awesome life. Like he came home. He spent 9 months in rehab, learning to use his wheelchair, learning how to operate things, learning how to function, and then goes out, gets his real estate license, starts a roofing company, gets married, has kids, like hunts, just lives an awesome life. And, you know, we go through his whole story and everything, and we get done with the podcast, and we're downstairs. We're here, but we're downstairs talking, and he says, we're talking. I said, you know, like, how did you progress like so much? And he looked at me, he goes, have you ever heard of Louis Puller Jr.? And I said, yes, sir. You know, Chesty Puller's son. And he said, I was in rehab with them. So they were both got wounded about the same time in Vietnam. They were both in rehab together. And he said, I accepted 100% what had happened to me. And I moved on. And he said, Louis never really accepted it, and it just tore him up for his whole life. And this story that you tell here, like, I wish somebody would have been around to tell, like, Louis Puller, like, hey, that dog don't hunt, man. You ain't gonna get an answer.
So it's weird to have the big smile, and I shouldn't have a smile. I have the same kind of story in a way. So there's a gentleman who got both legs taken. One hand lost like a top of a finger, you know, nothing. But he lost both legs, and he was pretty bitter, right? Angry, kind of like not somebody that the therapist really liked hanging out with. And we were out this barbecue one day, and I was talking, we were joking and everything, and he told me, you know what, Travis, you're part of the Everything's Great Club. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, everything you do, you just act like everything's just so great. And I mean, and I was kind of tired of this guy, to be honest with you. He was always just a whiner. And I looked at him and said, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I act like everything's great because I realized I was given the chance to live through my injuries. I know that I can't go back in time and change them. And being, 25 years old, I hope I have 50 years left. And I'd rather be me than be a miserable SOB and not be able to get over it like you're acting like right now. And you have been all this time that you've been here. And I don't think anybody could have punched this guy harder in the face than those words hit him. Yeah. And, and again, I mean, I normally tell a story a lot like, oh, I told him this, and he was like, oh, that's so amazing. But really, it like hit him because I was tired of just kind of his attitude, and he was telling me like everything's so great, and I'm like, dude, it's not that bad. Like I get to be here with my daughter. I don't think I'd be the same person if my daughter wasn't there. And just letting him know, like, dude, I have 50 years left. I'm not sure how long you think you have left, but I'm pretty sure I got 50. I'll make the most of it, and I realize the gift that it was given when a lot of my friends didn't make it back home. And I can, whatever. And then I hope he's doing a lot better. He seems to do a lot better now. And we're not like at each other. Like, yeah, he's been to the foundation and stuff like that. It's no big deal, but I think maybe he just needed to hear that day because he was so bitter. And I'm like, dude.
I would venture to say that the Everything Greats Club is better than the Everything Sucks Club.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think 10 out of 10 times having the attitude of like, oh, I'm actually thankful that I got to come home. Mm-hmm. And not all my friends did. And yeah, I got to deal with what I got to deal with, but I get to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think maybe you probably have a lot of people that that, not to put in spot here, but survivor's guilt's huge. And it blows my mind because it's like you can feel bad that they are no longer with us. You can be, you know, sitting there and thinking about what the situation was and maybe what you could have done differently. But at the end of the day, you couldn't, because this is what happened. And I take it as I'm going to do the best I can every day, not just for my family, not just for my kids and my wife, but I'm going to do it because they didn't make it back home. And they would hopefully live life to the fullest if I would have died over there, in my honor as well. I think it's selfish slap in the face if I give up myself because I was given this opportunity. And it really is a privilege to like be given life. I mean, those doctors worked on me for like 14 hours, and they could have loosened up one tourniquet. Instead, they gave blood from their veins right into me, and they did a mass call over the PA system in Kandahar. Anybody with A positive and universal blood run to the doors, and they had to keep giving me tests because they didn't test the blood. They just needed it. They needed it now. So, but anyway, I mean, survivor guilt gets me because I feel bad that people can't get out of their own way and accept like, it's what happened, but you have the ability now to make the most out of life. It's kind of like the Saving Private Ryan, right? Yep. Like, tell me, I'm a good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll get off my soapbox here.
No, all good.
Echo, what are you thinking there?
No, I'm taking it all in, but yeah, it's funny because like all these concepts, and you always talk about these concepts in these circumstances that are so heavy, you know. But then when they trickle down to like everyday stuff too as well. So it's like interesting to get that little huge reminder. That's what I'm thinking at this time.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. There's a book, like I said, this is like a pragmatic book. This is like a field manual almost of sorts. If you would have consulted me on the name, it might have even been called a field manual, but you didn't, so whatever.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Yeah, I'm the worst.
But some of the stuff that you've got in here is like this section here. It says, are you ruminating too much? And you introduced the idea of ruminating a little bit earlier in the book, but it says some signs that you may be overthinking what happened. Do you ponder, why did this happen to me and to my family? Do you think, what if I didn't do X, Y, or Z? Would there have been a different outcome? Do you often wonder what life would look like if this hadn't happened? Do you play out the accident or incident in your head repeatedly? Do you feel that what happened was unfair? Do you blame yourself for doing something or not doing something that could have been done to avoid the trauma? So again, these are like pragmatic things to ask yourself. If you find yourself going down this spiral, the what if spiral or the why spiral, you know, and that's exactly Jim Surley. Unfortunately, Jim Surley, he passed away like a year and a half ago or so. But that was the thing that he said, is like he can't just keep asking like why me, woe is me, why me. And this is the exact same message that you've got in this book. So yeah, if you find yourself,
is that the second time he said I plagiarized? I didn't plagiarize.
Well, Jim Surley didn't write a book.
Okay,
but you know, he
sorry.
He definitely, I mean, he clearly had a very similar attitude as you, and clearly like made it through with some similar thoughts along the way. So it's pretty interesting. I didn't really think of that until I didn't think of it while I was reading the book. I didn't think of it till actually right now when we were talking. I was like, oh yeah, this is the same stuff that Jim Surley was saying.
I don't think I put a principle in there called YOLO, but I'm telling you right now, like people wonder why I do so much. Like I started a restaurant, you know, recently, yep. And I have the marina that I bought just drinking whiskey one night. I thought, let's go in debt.
Good decision making.
Yeah, why not go in debt? And a few other things. And people are like, why do you do it? And I'm just like, well, they already said YOLO, obviously, but I think I'm not afraid to try new things, and I've given the chance to live through my injury, so go after it. Yeah. But yeah, I just again, those questions and all that, like I don't, you know, I tell people some of my biggest regrets. You know, I quit college football. I wasn't going to play college football like that much. Like I should have probably played baseball, but I was so good at the position of sideline because I was there all season. In Last Chance U, if that was a documentary, we would have been on it because we actually won the championship. Okay. I didn't even get the ring because I'm just like a redshirt freshman, so I don't even want the ring. Should have got it. And then I had a Ranger contract. But all my buddies were going to go to the 82nd. And they're like, hey, let's just go to the 82nd. They're letting us choose. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. So I went to the 82nd. 21 guys went to 1st Brigade to Iraq. One guy went to 4th Brigade to Afghanistan. So I lost all my basic training buddies. And then just like the gentleman you were talking about that wanted to go overseas, my orders took me at Fort Hood. The big Army said, hey, you got over 2 years combat. But I had a newborn baby. That tax-free money at Staff Sergeant ain't a bad thing to have to plus up my bank account. It was a 9-month hitter. and I was a weapons squad leader. So I'm supposed to be theoretically the most protected because I have the two big, 240 Bravos. I'm in the middle of everything, like in the middle of the formation. Not that I ever cared about that. I was actually usually getting in trouble for being the first one in the door, but that's because I love to fight. But I guess the point is, like, I don't have those questions anymore. My big questions are like, my wife gets pissed too. We're having our coffee. I'm like, hey, so what do you think we're having for dinner? And she's like, are you
Dude,
are you serious?
That's a hostile question. It's the same thing at my house. I have to be disciplined because when I come home, like when podcast, record the podcast, we get done, we train jiu-jitsu, get done jiu-jitsu. It's now like 6 o'clock at night. I didn't eat lunch, so I've been like fasting all day. Come home, and bro, there's literally one thing in the world I want to know. And that's what's for dinner. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if I come through that door and I don't talk about 4 other things, 4 other things before, and sometimes now I just investigate, bro. I'll be like, look in the oven, see if there's something in there. What is it? Can it be PID'd? Because that what's for dinner, man. Does this what you echo? You're nodding your head.
I can see how that could be for sure.
But it doesn't, no issue.
I have learned that.
This is just total avoidance.
Long time ago, yeah.
Okay.
So,
oh, geez. We'll sit there, have our coffee in the morning. She's just getting in the room, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you want to do for dinner? You think?" And she's like, "Are you serious right now?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I'll go to the grocery store if you need, or we can go to the restaurant. It don't matter." But that's not a question you should ask.
You gotta be careful,
especially at 7:30 in the morning having coffee.
Dude, only dudes think about like what's for dinner at 7:30 in the morning, right? Am I right? Mostly dudes.
Well, my wife, she's going to New Zealand, right? So like, I'm gonna start just using the crock pot, I think.
Do you not have Uber Eats where you are?
Well, I mean, we do, but it's like, I mean, I can just go down. I'll be honest with you, I just go to the restaurant.
Oh yeah, you got your own restaurant.
Yeah, I just go down there.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I love the crock pot. I'm so fired up because at the grocery store, they already cut up all the onions and the peppers and the tomato, like everything.
Here's
I need.
The thing with the crock pot for me.
Toss it in there.
When you do the crock pot thing, to me, everything kind of tastes the same. The meat tastes the same. Everything tastes the same in that big bucket, right?
Well, that's spices. You got to add spices and different meat. You can't just say
my wife's from
time.
England, so
okay.
Like some things like spices are a little bit unfamiliar. I'm gonna burn for that one, boy.
That's getting edited out.
Echo, edit that out. All right. Principle number 2.
Yep.
Unpack that rucksack. Process what happened so you can grow from it. When I tell people to stop asking why something bad happened, I don't mean shut the door on everything. You still need to process your experience and make sense of it. There's a difference between rumination and reflection, as well as merely overthinking and understanding. So this is, again, as soon as I got, open this one up, I was like, oh, what does he mean by that? Because he just said, don't ask too many questions. And now he's saying, unpack it. So right out of the gate, you made a reference. Is something that I say is like when people deal with loss, I tell them remember, but don't dwell, right? Like, hey man, you want to remember your friends, but you don't want to dwell on it. And that's all you think about. And it's a similar message that you put in this chapter here about unpacking the rucksack. Like you want to unpack the rucksack and make sure you comprehend what you went through, but you don't want to just like keep repacking it and unpacking it and repacking it and unpacking it type thing.
Yeah, and what I do is actually I tell people when I get off stage, I got 2 life lessons I live by, right? The first one is this one. Don't dwell on the past, just reminisce it. I mean, I used to wake up in the hospital bed, hope, wish, and pray this never happened. Close my eyes, this nightmare is going to be over. I'm going to wake up right now. And I never did wake up from that nightmare. Every time I opened my eyes, I was in the hospital bed. And I realized early on, stop dwelling on it. Just reminisce. I had 25 years of arms and legs, 25 amazing years with arms and legs. And then I didn't have them anymore. But I don't dwell on the fact I got blown up. I just, like you said, remember, right? Again, that's basically, that's just what I do. Like, I'm like, hey, I played college football. I joined the military. I jumped out of airplanes and got paid to do it, led some of the greatest guys overseas and had some of the most fun I'm ever had. But just because I got blown up doesn't mean my life was over. I just remember what I used to have. And I, this has been now over 11 years being injured. And I've had pretty incredible things happen since then too,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, like being your guys' friend.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you mean Echo's friend?
Okay. All right. You want to grab my self-esteem? I can't seem to reach it down there. Come up a little short over here, but it's okay. That's really fine. They can just stay down there. That's cool.
Little section in here. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Again, I'm fast forwarding through like most of the book. Obviously, I'm not going to do the audiobook. Did you do the audiobook?
I did not this time.
You had an actor do it?
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I don't want to bother. I told you, I don't like. Look, I like being your friend.
There's something. Some people have a hard time reading stuff. Did you do the audiobook for this one?
I did.
Did you not like doing it?
It sucked. I was in. So I don't remember if I explained this on the last podcast, but my body overheats. Mm-hmm. I get hot.
So they stuck you in one of those booths to read this thing?
Yeah. AC had to get turned off so you wouldn't hear the thing. I had to read a book 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
And they actually, after I was getting decent, they were like, okay, well, we got to read the first third of the book again. And I was like, oof, awesome. Let's just knock this out. And you know how you write something and you think like, okay, I wrote it. I know I wrote it. I was there when it was written. So I should be able to read it. And then you're putting like, instead of we are, it's like, yeah, so we're. And they're like, nope, that's not how it says it. And I'm like, yeah, let me try again. So we, son of a.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of blooper outtakes where some words came out.
It's not an easy thing to do for some people. Like for me, it's easy for me to read stuff. I don't know why. But like I've seen people that are the most conversational, just really good to go. And you put them to read something, you hand them like, hey, read this right now. And it's just like brain lock.
Yeah. I mean, I do okay with it. Like I can do the teleprompter. Mm-hmm. I could have done it, but I just think that time wise, it didn't make sense. And they gave me like 5 voiceover people that I had to choose from. So we picked the one that I think was the most interesting. I mean, I've already said I appreciate just being your friend. So like, I don't want to just be like, hey, can you do me another favor? You know, that time I got blown up and you feel bad for me. So no. So like, I would have bothered you, but
next time bother me, I'll read it.
Absolutely. I got to write another book. I got to figure out what other thing I can see what's successful out there.
Well, you know, Jordan Peterson did 12 more rules, so you can do 12 more warrior principles.
I might do 11 or 13. You know, maybe just go one up or one down.
Shuck.
And then I'm just going to do like
7-minute abs, 6-minute abs.
Yeah, like yeah. Oh, I'm all about the 8-minute abs. You know what I'm saying? People don't realize like this physique. This core is strong. I'll tell you right now.
It is strong. I know that from rolling with you because you that's like your main body group.
I was surprised that the FX cameras that you guys use for Origin and everything for the camp, they record in slow motion. Because I mean, I was moving so much faster than those videos on Instagram that were posted. Look, I mean, I don't know. I was going a mile a minute. But I was like, man, those cameras slow the frames down for sure.
It is a little bit weird, like how fast you move, like on the mat. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a weird, like kind of alien sensation. Did you get that?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff you're not used to.
Yeah.
So, with me.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a weird.
And I can make like a weird growl sound too, like you know, and then that really gets them.
Yeah. It is a weird thing to, like when you start moving fast. It's definitely like you said. I guess it's because you're not used to it. So you're not used to seeing like a body move in this really fast way. It's kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Well, and like with the deco, he was saying, and his birthday just hit, so happy birthday to him. But he was saying he was trying to reach for my wrist, and he just kept coming up short of my wrist because that's not there.
It's real.
That's real.
Yeah. I saw when I was watching him roll with you, I could see his like arm moving to grab or like to underhook your arm, and it's not there. Yeah. It's definitely takes some adjustments for the other guy as well. Going back to the book here.
That's right. Yeah.
Talk it through. There is a lot of benefits that comes with sharing your struggles with another human. The biggest being you find out you're not alone. When something bad happens to us, we tend to feel that we are the only ones dealing with it. And if you focus on the traumatic event itself, then yes, of course you are alone, as you were literally the only person experiencing that very event. However, if you change your perspective and focus on what comes with experience, what you find is that everyone has experienced similar effects to some degree. When you share our feelings, you discover that you aren't really alone. That realization alone can lift a tremendous weight off your shoulders. Dude, it's like everybody's been through some trauma.
I got 2 stories for this. The first one, you know, like, is it Good Will Hunting where he just has to sit with a therapist and he won't talk to him? Yeah. And he finally breaks him?
Yeah.
Well, they had a social worker named Christy that they made everybody talk. You know, you had to go to see her for an hour. And I went there and talked to her. and we talk about football. She was a Green Bay Packers fan. I'm a Lions fan, you know, whatever. Clay Matthews' hair. And then she'd ask me a personal question, and I'm like, yeah, no. And then we get talking about other stuff, and then we did it again. And I sat there for the hours, like, all right, well, time's up. I got to go. Came back next time, about 20 minutes in. I said, I'll be honest with you. We're never going to discuss anything of real substance. I said, I didn't talk to mental health when they came into my room. And I literally gave the name. I gave her my name, rank, and social. Like, mental health came in the first time I was sleeping. Second time,
Geneva Convention
yeah,
only.
so second time they came in, I was like, Kelsey goes, mental health's here to talk to you. I was still in the hospital, you know. I just shut my eyes and pretended I was sleeping. Third time, eating a bowl of cereal with a makeshift arm, like duct taped, like with a spoon. Mm-hmm. And I'm eating, and I see her come in. And I know who she is. I saw her last time. And I said, oh, shit. I don't know if I can swear now. You can bleep it or whatever. And that's exactly what I said. And I fell back into my bed. Like, from sitting up, fell right back. And I shut my eyes and pretended like I was snoring. And she walks, she goes, what are you doing? And I gave her name, rank, and social. And she said, what? And I did it again. And she goes, I don't understand. I said, that's what we tell the enemy if they capture you. I said, take it. I said, take it and leave, or just leave. I don't care. Like, we're not going to do this. So that was my first time. And then I had a social worker as I got to outpatient. And the second time I went there for 20 minutes, said, look, never going to happen. I said, this isn't the movies. I got nothing to say to you. I appreciate what you do for people that need it. I don't need it. And that was it. And I got thinking about that. And I tell people, probably not the right approach, and blah, 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 blah.
So wait, did she never get anything out of you?
She released me. No, she never was going to. We were not going to be on that level. But I got thinking about it.
So she didn't go full Robin Williams, Goodwill Hunting, and like get you crying or anything?
No. What can she do? I mean, she was a nice person. I said, I appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But what I realized,
I'm just an
asshole. Or other side, I realized I had a community of my own. And I had Taylor Morris, who's a quadruple amputee. I had Drew Mully, single leg amputee. And I had Bo Reichenbach, Navy SEAL, right, double leg amputee, as well as Josh Wetzel and Andrew Smith, both double leg amputees. And not just them, their spouses. And we were all the best of friends. We all dealt with everything together. We hung out every day. And our kids hung out, you know, those of us that had kids at the time. And I realized in that, you know, looking back, because, yeah, you're right, I was probably a jerk, because I didn't want to talk my feelings with her. I wasn't mean to her by any means. I was never rude. I wasn't, she would never later, like, if you asked her today, she wouldn't say I was a jerk or anything like that. I was just very like, hey, look, this is not the movies. This is not going to happen. But I got thinking about it, and I realized I had my community. And it wasn't just my community, it was me and Kelsey's community. Kelsey still is on a text chain with all the wives. They talk every day. The one lady, Jen, just had twins, that kid number 4 and 5. But her husband's only missing one leg, so it's like a paper cut, so they're fine. But I had my community to talk to every day and hang out with and go out to dinners, and we always ate, you know, together and go around talk and things like that. And then take it a step further, my Alive Day. I always hated my Alive Day. You know what that is? Maybe people out there listening don't, but when the day you get injured, like car accident real bad, or like me, got blown up, or whatever, that you almost died, that you lived, they call it your Alive Day. They want to celebrate it. Some guys drink heavily. Some guys enjoy it. Other guys don't pay much attention. For the years, I hated it. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. My birthday's in 4 days. You know, I'm fine. I'll wait for the actual day I was alive. But then by year 8, I think it was, I did an Instagram Live, and I got talking, and I teared up and said, you know, at the end of it, I used to be pissed. I used to hate this. I used to think, this is the worst day ever. Why would I want to remember any of this? You know, instead of just, you know, move on. And I said, but then you realize how fortunate I am. And I look back at the years I've had to recover, to have my family, to have my friends, and to be here to watch my daughter grow, to be here and have my son, which would have never happened if I would have just died. I said, so at the end of it, for the Alive Day, I'm just more grateful than anything. And then Taylor, he's another quad. He's very dry, very quiet, a Navy EOD guy, great guy. He texts me, he goes, nailed it, you know, and that meant a lot that he said it, because we don't talk feelings. And the thing is, with my community, we didn't talk about feelings in general, like, oh, this sucks, I got blown up. And it was like, it's just like understood, like we all thought it sucked, you know, so we were all just like.
Baseline level of suck.
We've all been there. And that was like my community. So that's the important thing. Well, you find a lot of guys that won't engage with somebody that's not military, or they're not going to understand me, so I'm not going to talk to them. And that's why the foundation, the Travis Mills Foundation, shameless plug for my foundation here, we have the PATH program, the Warrior PATH program for first responders and combat veterans, because it's train the trainer style, non-clinical, and it's one of the top in the nation. It teaches people how to struggle well, because we're all going to struggle, and about post-traumatic growth. You know, how to understand what's going on and to fight through and to come out the other side better. when you have an episode or when you feel that stuff. And I'm way off topic probably.
No. All good. That's what we're here for.
But I think, you know, with the community, I had a solid community. Some of the greatest friends I'm ever going to have, you know. And I get to see, actually, Danielle we picked up today on the way here. Taylor couldn't come. I saw him from the plane. We talked a little bit through the door. And then Andrew and Tori are coming with their kids as well. So pretty
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit. Again, I'm not going to read the whole book, but it says focus on what's in your control and what's not in your control. Let's use what is in our control to grow from. This is something I always have to refer back to. Like, hey, you got some things you can control in life and you got some things you can't. Usually we can control more than we think we can, but there are absolutely things that are going to be totally out of your control.
Yeah, like the 5 today, trying to drive down there.
Oh, yeah.
And
you have no control over the 5.
I was so mad. I was like, oh, no, I'm letting them down. I'm an hour late. But my driver was so sweet to take me because the car service, I screwed it up somehow. So, like, Uber down from whatever.
Was it an Uber you took down here?
It was.
Good times.
I gave the guy a big tip. I was like, dude, I gave him as much as, like, I tried to do 100, and like, you can't do 100. You can only do 98. I'm like, 98 it is.
Check. You can't do more than 100?
It said I couldn't.
Huh. Maxing that thing out. Principle 3. Point the finger and 3 fingers point back at you. Don't blame others, but be compassionate to yourself. You go in here, you talk about your program director, James. Is that at the foundation?
It is. He's a Marine that runs the PATH program.
Marine Corps, 2009 to 2013. He was like one of the guys working on IEDs, finding IEDs. He got, you know, explosions, got some blast damage along the way. And I'm fast forward a little bit. You say he came back from his second deployment. He says, I was super angry. I woke up pissed at the world. And that's just the way I stayed 24/7. I don't know why. I didn't know why. I just knew that I was pissed. I was getting violent at work with junior Marines and verbal fits at home that just kept escalating. This, among other things, ultimately led to divorce. I left the Marine Corps in April 2013, but at that point I'd been diagnosed with PTSD, TBI, and a bunch of other crap and was forced to seek treatment. Doctors put me on a zombie cocktail of medication. Eventually, it came to a total of 17 different meds, some for depression, some for anxiety, some for TBI-related headaches, and a bunch of other pills to counter the side effects of the medication. I mean, this is just like kind of one of those horror stories you hear, just getting medicated. He ends up start drinking. He starts feeling out of control. No matter how mad I was at myself, I project anger on someone else. I think, who am I going to blame today because it can't be me? And you say that right there is a victim mentality. He ends up like suicidal. And again, this is a long story that you tell in the book. But then you say the biggest aha moment was when James realized he was accountable for himself. And this is one of the best definitions of extreme ownership I've ever heard. If I don't change my diaper, then I'm going to have shitty pants. That's on me. I stopped looking outward to blame and started to look inward. Change that diaper.
And you know, the thing is, not funny, but the thing is with James, he's our coordinator right for PATH. Like, he's like a bigwig. Like, and there's like 10 locations around the nation for PATH program, and our numbers are very well where they use us for a lot of examples. And I mean, where James was at, I think he tells a story. Does he tell a story about throwing a turkey? He was at work at a grocery.
Yeah.
Like, he threw a turkey at a customer.
Yep, at a customer.
Pissed him off.
He tells that. Yeah. You could see he's come a long way.
And but again, yes, he has. Great guy. I mean, truly just a great guy. But he's getting remarried, and they just moved into a new house. They just built a brand new house. But he's that community that we're talking about too. Like, he's the one that leads this program for people that face this every day.
Yeah.
So he's been there, lived it, done it, and he still works on himself every day. You know, it's constantly a recalibration in a focus or refocus.
The contrast that you talk about in the book, and this is really important. I've talked about this as well, because this is this same principle as extreme ownership. You know, this is like you point one finger at someone else, there's 3 pointing back at you. It's the same thing. And then you talk about forgiveness. This is again something that I address. And you say this, essentially everyone has regrets for things they did or didn't do, but you can't get hung up on these regrets or you'll never get peace. Repeat after me. I am human and I make mistakes. Show yourself some grace, accept the mistakes, and learn from them. Instead of dwelling and letting them hold you back, use them to propel yourself forward in a new direction. Life is trial and error. There's no handbook on how to live your life. Every time that you feel you may be beating yourself up, stop, reflect on the situation, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation and how can I do better? And the big thing when I talk about forgiving yourself, if you think about like your relationship with your wife or your kids or whatever, if you don't learn how to forgive, like when they mess something up, it's never going to work. So if you can't forgive yourself for some mistake that you made in the past, you're going to have problems for a long time. So you got to learn to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. Like my son, he'll do something stupid, you know, obviously. And I'm like, look, you little 6-year-old, you little turd. Yeah, actually, you know, it's hereditary. I blame myself, right? I got to take the extreme ownership. He's a mama's boy. And so am I, but I hate it. But my daughter and me are best friends.
Well, he's only 6, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be that way for a bit.
I know, but here's the thing: I took him to a birthday party to his cousin's house, and he had to pick up like the Nerf gun we brought his cousin. He picks it up; it's a big box. Hits himself in the neck. He's like, "Oh, it hurts!" And I'm like, "It doesn't hurt. It's probably unpleasant for a second. You're fine." He goes, "You're just mean. You're a mean dad." I'm like, "No, I'm not. You're soft." And then we had a whole conversation. And he's like, "Is this how you want your friends to talk to you if you hurt yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "You're just a mean dad." I said, "Get in the car." And then, you know, later on, he was fine. But I'm like, my daughter like hit her head at school in kindergarten and had a huge goose egg on her head.
No factor. Yeah,
she went out. The school calls, "Oh, she hit her head. We probably should come get her." I came to get her. We're going out in the parking lot. She's dancing and twirling. I said, "You feel fine?" She goes, "Yeah." All right, so I take her back in school. I said, "Look, I know how it looks, right? I was in an explosion. I'm probably like a hard ass. Like, my kid's fine. I went through a bomb. What was this?" I said, "But she's fine. If she passes out or something, give us a call. But she's going back to class."
Yeah.
And when my son, he had a thing at school where he got sick or something, and he just wanted to get out of school, I feel like.
Yeah.
And my wife got the phone call, and she called me, and she beat me there for 5 minutes. And she let him get out of school. He comes home, he's dancing and jumping up the stairs, fired up, going to turn on this and play this and whatever. And I said, "You know what, Kelsey, if I would have got there, I would have told him, Dax, you can come home, no problem. You're going to sit in my Yukon while I go to all my meetings today at all the different various places I got to stop, and you're not getting my phone. You're not watching a movie. You're going to sit there because you don't feel good. You can go out to class and play with your friends, or you can come home with me." He would have took option 1. She's making him soft, Jocko.
Here's some advice that I've given to like a lot of my friends that have kids. I'm giving it to Leif. Leif's super fired up for this, and he takes advantage of it. Every chance you get to pull your kids out of school and go do something cool, do it.
Oh no, we're in California until Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. She's going to New Zealand for 16 days.
There you go. That's what I like to hear, man. The kids will never remember like some day at school where they learned about whatever.
Yeah.
But you go do something cool with your kids, take them to work, let them hang out, go to wherever, like take them fishing, whatever you're going to do with them.
Yeah.
It's going to be 1,000 times better, and they're going to learn more.
I just don't want them to go to the nurse's office. That's what I was mad about. I'm like, no, you're fine.
That's a different thing. That's also like the kids are learning to manipulate, right? Yeah. They're learning to work the system. They're human beings that are learning to navigate through the shit. You know what I mean? Like, well, if I go here, I can come home. I can watch TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Dance around or whatever you're saying he was doing. So
just up the stairs, just like going upstairs, petting the dog, like having this good old time.
Yeah.
5 minutes after I got home.
Good, smart kid, right? Kind of.
Oh, you don't feel good? It's like, yeah, you're right. You don't feel good. I'm like,
yeah, there you go. Kids are crafty.
But no, my parents were like, every day you're at school, that's it. I'm like, I think I'm dying. You know, you're fine.
I was out in the woods with my dad, and we were cutting down wood for the fire, and the tree fell on my leg because I was an idiot, and so I was like, I think I hurt my leg, and my dad was like, you're fine. Tow the sled back. So we had like a sled filled with wood, and so I had to like drag it back, and I was crawling kind of like with my hands and one leg because my leg really hurt a lot, and I get back, and like 3 days later, they took me to the hospital because I was still hopping around, and I had a broken leg.
Yeah, our parents were tough. My dad, I broke my wrist, He's like, you're fine. He smacks it and like, boom. He goes, I think, he goes, you know what? I think we're going to go check that out. But he had to like make sure by just like I was holding my left arm. I was like, no, I think it's broke. He's like, you're fine. You're smacks fine. It. Boop. He's like, yeah, we're gonna check that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they clear their throat like that, you know, you know if something's wrong. Principle 4: snap your fingers, wiggle your toes, and get the out of bed. Create small, achievable goals for moving forward. When dealing with trauma, there may be days, weeks that you don't feel like doing anything. You may feel so depressed and deflated that you may feel too paralyzed to do anything. My friend, that is called collateral damage, to which I say, snap your fingers and wiggle your toes. I can't do that for obvious reasons, but chances are that you can. The idea behind it is simple. Do one small thing to get you moving. That one small thing will get you motivated to go on to the next thing. The simple act of getting out of bed. And getting out of bed will curtail whatever you got spinning in that mind of yours. The mere physicality of these actions should spur a mental shift as well. Once you stop being physically and mentally stuck, this is when you can start to take responsibility for your behavior. Choose to see something in your life that you can find a positive in every single day. Snap your fingers, wiggle your toes, get out of bed. It's a simple act that can remind you that life isn't that bad.
Now we did take from the idea of make your bed.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, making your bed, like setting goals, maybe you just got to get out of bed first. So like we didn't.
You know, you made Admiral McCraven, you know, you made him look bad here. You're like, oh, hey, Admiral. Hey, Admiral, oh, you're just making your bed. What if you can't even get out of bed?
Well,
you went one step deeper.
We just wanted to include everybody. Okay. It's very inclusive here.
I'm just saying, it sounds like you're trying to one-up him.
I can't even snap my fingers and wiggle my toes. I mean, sorry.
You continue. Like I said, this is really a pragmatic manual. You got a whole section on section on goals and creating goals. And then once you have a goal, you'll need some tips on to keep you going. You got things in here like be flexible, be kind to yourself, don't judge, be patient, visualize achieving your goal, have a support system, and you got expansions on all these. I'm just kind of burning through them.
Yeah,
Celebrate
let me
the
ask
wins.
You a question though. So like, right? Look, I'm not silly. Like I'm fortunate to know you outside of the podcast. Mm-hmm. Do you visualize all the success that you were like? You reach out to Pete. Hey, Pete, like your geese. You want to do something? Mm-hmm. And you're like, then now look at. Like all the drinks and all, like I'm drinking Leif's drink just because I like the flavor. Mm-hmm. But like, did you visualize? Do you do that? Like all the success. I mean, I'm sure people know. Obviously, Jocko products are successful, and then Origin and everything like that.
Yeah. No, I would say this. So like when I try and make something, mm-hmm. I don't over invest or over index or think it's going to be successful. I just try it. Like the first thing. Like Echelon Front, like Leif and I weren't like, yo, like we got to build a giant consulting company. Like we were like, hey, let's see if anybody wants this information. Mm-hmm. And then as they wanted the information, it was like, oh, cool. People want this information. They need to learn how to lead. Okay, cool. How many people? Okay, well, let's hire another instructor. JP, come on board.
By the way, does a fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
I've been able to sit through a couple of his.
Yeah.
He was in my restaurant.
Oh, JP?
He spoke for a big energy company that gives a lot of money to the foundation.
Yep.
And I walked in and I was like, Joe, are you serious? Like, I'm a speaker too, you know. But no, I'm kidding. Joe Parrington. He actually he got to do a lot with you when he was in New Hampshire.
Yeah, JP's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So JP came on. Then Dave Burke. Like we just expanded. Same thing with, you know, Origin. Like we were making geese. Okay. That's like one product. How were they doing? They were doing good. Well, let's make rash guards. No gi. Okay, cool. Eventually it's like, hey, don't a lot of people wear jeans? Because it seems like everyone wears jeans. Let's try making jeans. Did we buy a jean factory immediately? No. We took a few years. Then we bought a jean factory. But so for me, I don't like visualize blindly like this is going to be great. I'm going to take a huge step in this direction. Same thing with all those supplements. It wasn't like we didn't come out with a line of supplements. We came out with 2 supplements, right? And then did people like them? Are they effective? Do they give people the benefits that we are saying? Like, yep, growing. More people want them. Then we bring out another supplement. Then we bring out protein. So doing it in a small way so that you don't have to be able to see really far in the future to visualize. For me, I'm just looking like, oh, there's an opportunity. Let's give it a shot type thing. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm just like, I visualize like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be awesome. Let's go big. And my business partner Bill is always like, hey, let's just start small. And I'm like, no. I wanted to build this 200-person event center with a brewery underneath and a tasting room, and it was gonna be like $1.6 million project. And then like one of the guys that's one of the partners was like, oh, it's kind of big, blah blah blah. So now we're putting in a little 4-bay garage. And like about the vibes, I don't care about the vibes. Dogfish Head Brewing sold for $180 million. That's where I'm going, straight to the top.
Yeah,
but we're gonna slow it down a bit.
Have you had any big failures yet?
Oh yeah, I got one right now.
What was your biggest failure?
I went okay. Well, my arms and legs, I lost those, but didn't lose my ass on it.
Your biggest failure was looking for IEDs?
Yeah. No, I found that.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Big success there.
No, I wouldn't say failure. There's the clothing line I'm trying to do right now is not. I'm not putting much time and effort into it.
How much have you invested in it? Like a huge amount, a medium amount?
I'm not sure what a huge amount is. For me, it's a huge amount. It's like 100,000.
Okay.
And I'm not too like. I don't work on it hard enough. That's why I told my wife she's taking over.
So again, to me, that's a lot of money to put into something when you may or may not have something that people really want. And there's only one. The only group that can tell what the public wants is the public. So you can make something that you think is the best thing, the greatest thing in the world, and people are like, yo, we don't want this.
When I promote it and stuff, I sell. But my problem is I have a million different things going. So like. It's me. Like I understand. Like it's the 3 fingers pointing back at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the name? Where can people buy the stuff so we can at least sell a little bit of it? Maybe you can get some of your $100,000 back.
Well, it's Rebel for Good. Well, I mean, what I did was so the military will give you a certain amount of money when you get blown up per limb. They cap it at 2 limbs total. And
what?
Yeah.
They cap it at 2 limbs.
Okay, so it's public knowledge. It's 50,000 per limb, but it's capped at 100,000. And with that 100,000, I flipped. I know. I don't know why.
That is the most freaking ridiculous thing ever.
I don't know. I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody.
God,
there was some talks about going and saying like, no, it's not right. But the point is, I was appreciative, and it's tax free. And what I did instead of buying an Escalade or go out and buy some dumb, something stupid, I flipped houses. No. I like Escalades. I'm just saying at the time, nice. I wasn't like the #1 podcast in America, like able to like buy an Escalade. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, Echo. You have the clout. I didn't. So I flipped houses, and I had some real home runs. I flipped 8 houses. Some were just like nothing. Just like, okay, bought it for 80,000, sold it for 180,000, like nothing to it.
Nice.
Before it got saturated. So then I bought the marina, and I bought a cottage, and I've done investments, right? And I've worked and stuff like that. So what I did was like 2 years ago in February, I decided I was going to bet on myself. So I took money out of the stock market because I didn't like where it was heading. Great time to take it out.
Check.
I bought an investment property in Florida, and I put money into this company. But I just don't dedicate enough of my time as I need to. So it's on me. But we have a store, main local store that's like in 17 stores that's going to go into. So
that's cool.
So we'll see. We'll start there and see what happens.
And if people want to order something today just to like try and maybe help you stay afloat,
I don't want to take away from Origin. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, what is it? What is it?
Rebelforgood.com. It's all about... So Rebel for Good is like
here comes the pitch.
What we came up for.
Yeah, hey, I don't want to sell anything, but Rebel for Good is a go ahead.
The idea was you go against the grain and you be a rebel, but you do good with it. Like you I don't know. It's just what we came up with. So yeah. I mean, I'm not upset about it because I have another company that I'm doing some contracting with. It'll work it out. It'll all work out.
Which company is that? Or
it's just called One Alpha Outdoors, but it's like I'm doing. Like government bidding.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Because they give, disabled. I have all, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm more quiet about it. Not quiet, but like.
Check.
I'm disabled veteran, so I have a status.
You're disabled veteran. Okay.
Well,
cool.
They put on my paper. I mean, I'm handy capable though.
All right. We good? Does that answer your visualization question?
It does, because I sit there and I visualize a lot. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm building this. I'm building that. Like when I'm on like airplanes and stuff like that, that's what I'm doing. I'm like staring off into nothingness.
Echo and I just did like a little recording, and I was talking about being paranoid. That I'm paranoid. I'm a paranoid person, not in a paranoid like, oh, I think everyone's trying to get me, but like paranoid like when I was in the SEAL teams, I'm paranoid. I'm going to forget a piece of gear, so I'd like check my gear 5 times, and I would never forget anything. I'd paranoid I was going to be late, so I'd have 3 alarm clocks, so I was never late. I'm paranoid that like, oh, I'm gonna make a horrible business decision, so I'm more cautious. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not cautious, but I don't overcommit to things. So I don't have an idea and think like, dude, I thought of the best, widget ever, and I'm gonna build a factory to make this widget. Like we have 4 factories now at Origin, but we started with 1. You know what I mean? And grow. We didn't pool all of our money and borrow a bunch of money and leverage my house and all this other stuff to get 4 factories in one shot. No, we built 1, then another one, then another one. So that's kind of same thing with Echelon Front. Like there's a lot of people that work at Echelon Front now. We have an office building. We got a lot of stuff at Echelon Front, a lot of things going on. But we didn't start that way. We started small and grow. And that's what I recommend people all the time to do with business is start small and grow.
I should have done that. Here's the thing. I should have probably did that when it came to like hitting a bomb, but I just dove right in. I could have just took one leg below the knee, see if I like it.
Especially if you knew you're only going to get capped at 2 limbs.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you that.
No.
They didn't say like, hey, listen, if you're going to lose limbs, just try to hold fast at 2.
But don't you think, okay, so everybody out there listening, like working hard and going about life, don't you think like that's a little bit like even arrogant for me to tell people in a way?
Bro, I would have probably at this point written a book, said you're capped at 2 limbs, and the whole book would have been about this shit. This is freaking ridiculous.
Okay,
the U.S. government, I mean, the amount of guys that lose more than 2 limbs is not a freaking big number. And it's not like we can't pay the guys the other 50 grand or the other 100 grand for 4 freaking limbs. Come on.
Well, if you're listening to this, and I'm kind of out some money right now, so I mean, if you want, no, I'm just kidding. No, I believe it's gonna like. We have made some money on it, right? I'm not like out 100,000, but I realize like it was stupid of me to not give my all.
Do you have a bunch of T-shirts or whatever sitting around that you already made?
We have some stock, yeah.
Okay.
We have some stock, yeah. There's shirts, there's hats, there's stuff.
Hey, everybody go to rebelforgood.com and buy some stuff.
There you go.
From this broke-ass veteran.
That's right.
That overinvested.
They didn't give me enough for my arms and legs being gone. I was just trying. No, I'm not saying it's a failure. I'm just saying I think maybe I visualize when I don't attack. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Like,
yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, hey, we're going to work on Rebel for Good today. And then I was going to do it tomorrow, but I got to fly to Vegas. And then I got to fly to, just my schedule gets me. So my wife would love me to like slow down.
Chill out a little bit.
Just figure out what I want to actually do. Mm-hmm. So like.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Your purpose?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Driving purpose.
There's a song about it, and I plan on just being a billionaire. I'm not sure I'm going to do that.
That's what you're visualizing?
I don't even know why. I mean, I just like this song. I want to be a billion. They're so. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you know that song?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Everybody. No, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I like being busy. I was talking with Pete just yesterday. Mm-hmm. I was driving, and I was talking to Pete, and I said, he said, oh man, I've been in meetings all day, and I'm sure maybe you were in the meetings with him or whatever, but. They had meetings all day, and it's been a couple of days. And he's like, "Yeah, now I'm just gonna go home and maybe relax a bit." I'm like, "Yeah, but you like work." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I love it. It's what I do." I'm like, "I'm the same way." So like, I call it work, but when you're the boss, it's not really work. You show up, everybody's nice to me. I go to the foundation. I'm just going, "Hey, hi Travis, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing well. How are you?" No one's like, "Hey, you're gonna get this paper done."
They're like, "What are you working on today?" You're like, "I'm gonna eat a piece of chicken and
customer relations, employee relations." But anyway, no, we got way off topic there.
Right on, all good.
My bad.
All right, getting back on track. Going back to principle number 5: stay within the guardrails, manage your emotions, and control your attitude. And you got a section in here that I got to run through. When Robert was in grad school, he took an adaptive leadership class that always stayed with him. And it came in handy when he was in danger of losing his job. At that moment, over lunch, he had so many emotions consuming him. I really wanted to scream, "Hey, you've set me up to fail." This is a guy that had lost his job. Or hadn't lost a job yet, but he was going to get fired. They told him he was going to get fired. He wanted to scream, "Hey, you set me up to fail. You didn't even communicate what you wanted from me. I felt we didn't have an agreement on what I was supposed to do, yet here I was being told I was failed." But I didn't scream. I remember what I learned in that class, as the adaptive leadership class, to get up on the balcony, get up high, and look from above at a situation. Get that perspective to get out of your head and leave your emotions on the floor so you can be more objective and resist having a hasty reaction. Going up on the balcony gave me the space and the presence of mind to get a broader picture and figure out a good plan forward. There may be something you want to say, but that doesn't mean you should say it. And being on the balcony gave me that time to think on my feet and respond the right way. This is something that I talk about all the time. Just being able to detach is what I call it. Being able to detach, not get caught up, take a step back, pay attention to what's going on. So what you're talking about in this section of the book is like getting control of your emotions. And you got a bunch of like things to that you cover in here.
I mean, per our last conversation, I literally realized it's my fault for I don't spend enough time on the product right now. I detached and looked from above, and I was like, you know what? Actually, as I'm telling you guys this, it's my fault. I suck.
Yeah, well, you also probably get like emotional about like, hey, this is going to be a great product, and you don't take a step back and go, oh, okay, hold on a second. Have I tested the market? Do I understand what people really want? Because you think you do. We all think we do. We think in our gut, like everyone's going to love this.
Well, I thought I had some stuff lined up too, where it's going to go into a big retail store automatically, and I had it all lined up, and then last minute did not work out that way. I was like, okay, because I remember telling my wife like, hey, I'm just going to bet on myself. Well, I'm going to invest in myself.
Yeah. There's a weird too thing like sometimes people have, and you probably have some of this too, is like people that are so good and convincing that they convince themselves and then they convince everybody else that they're right. Like I have to be careful that like I can be pretty persuasive about stuff. I can be so persuasive that I can persuade like Echo that like we're going to do something and it doesn't make any sense. So I'm always like checking myself. Again, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid that I might be wrong, and that keeps me a little bit more in check about things. You got a couple things in here about when you talk about emotions, like breathing. You say practice mindfulness, which when
again, this is the research that was done.
No, but when I was reading it, I was kind of like, okay, here we go. But then you said, here's a typical initial conversation with many former Marines. Hey, so we're going to do some mindfulness work before we work out today. Oh, so we're going to go full on hippie? Ever shoot between breaths when you were behind the scope of a rifle? Well, that's mindfulness. So you kind of brought it down for us freaking knuckle draggers. I like that. You talk about that mindfulness stuff. You talk about humor, using anger as a motivator, role playing you put in there. Just freaking awesome. Something we do all the time. And then just making sure, and again, you go into this, get the book out there, because it talks about like the actual methodology from going from like a negative thought to a positive thought. And this is some of the really good stuff to take away from the book. Principle 6, make the time to be grateful for what you have. And then this is when the science, you have a little thing in here. It's called, you've got creative. It's called science lesson number 1. We tend to be negative Nancy's. I got a little excerpt here. It's called negativity bias. We tend to remember and dwell from stressful negative experiences more than positive, and to base our behaviors off of them, which is interesting. It goes into it here. Like if you are out on the, Serengeti plains and you watched like your family get mauled by a lion back in the day, you'd be like, lions bad. I need to stay away from them. So that makes us dwell more on the negative than on the positive. And
I think that we do that as humans, we do that. Like we've had at the foundation thousands of families or thousands of people come, right? Hundreds of families. And I tend to imagine, or I tend to like relive like the 3 or 4 that won't get invited back. Out of all the success stories we've had, all the spouses and the crying and like, this is the best thing ever. My husband, this is the guy I married. He's acting like the guy I married, and I haven't seen this guy since before he deployed. And it was like 4 years prior. And I'm like, remember that one family that came here and like they let their kids just ruin everything? They used our brand new towels, wet the kids' poopy butt, and like just it's like the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. And I do that, and I focus on that, or it's irritating that I do that. And then I had one comment made to me. When my house got built, Gary Sneeze Foundation, Caring Charitable Foundation, and Tone Towers were all together. They built it. Very, very grateful to have the adaptive home. And I had an older gentleman come out because I had an elevator in my house. The elevator was donated, but I had an elevator, and the guy said, how many ramps could you put on veterans' houses, and you have an elevator in your house? He said, you're just building a shrine for yourself out there with your foundation.
Damn.
And that like sticks in my head because I've never taken $1 from my foundation. I mean, I've never taken a bonus. I don't use any of the money for myself. Like, and if I did, nobody would say anything if I had a salary, but I don't. And like we raise quite a bit of money. We're very fortunate. People support and believe in us. But I literally go out for 2 hours now during a Tuesday lunch. I don't even eat lunch. I meet the families. I say hi. And then I take off and I go to I schedule other stuff because I don't want people to think I did it just so I can be out there and like, look at me. Mm-hmm. And like just some old guy. Matter of fact, he was a Vietnam vet, and he happened to be business partners with a friend of mine that I met, my plumber. I called my plumber and I got the guy's number.
Dude. That's a bitter dude. Man.
Well, let me tell you something. You want to see a Facebook troll? You got one in front of you. People that give me a bad review at my restaurant, they're going to find out. You talk bad about my marina, we're going to have a conversation. This gentleman, I got his phone number. I called him up. I said, hey, I'm not sure why you're saying this, but we're going to have a conversation about it. How'd you get my number? I'm like, I know people. Don't worry about it. And he just couldn't get over it. They didn't understand what I was doing with the foundation. And now to this day, I still always think about that. I want to make sure people know, like, and I don't know why, but I'm like, hey, look, we raised, I think we're going on $40 million of in-kind donations, and we're building and we're helping and supporting and building programs out. And I make sure every chance I get, just like right now, I don't know why I feel compelled, but everybody knows, like, I and Kelsey, we have never taken a dollar, a salary, a bonus, nothing. Mm-hmm. And we're never going to. But I want people, I don't know why. That guy just got in my head. That was like when I was moving in my house.
Dude, that's case in point. People focus of all the people that have praised and been thankful for all the families that you've helped and everything. But you think about this one dude that talks shit about you.
Oh, I tell you what.
So, case in point, sometimes we focus on the negative.
I know.
Your book is correct. Science lesson number 1, science lesson number 2. This is your brain on gratitude. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can have incredible results on the brain and mood. People have reported feeling happier, more motivated, and more content after adding the practice into their daily life. So you got that in there. Gratitude breed resilience. You give some science behind that. You give science lesson number 4, really believe it. And you talk about Andrew Huberman, Dr. Andrew Huberman. And just the fact that he's like talking about when you go into an ice bath you're talking about here?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. For it to really work, you have to believe that it really works. You have to think that like this is good for me, and then it's like more helpful.
I should know this about you, but do you do the ice plunges and all that?
I do.
I thought so.
I do. Why'd you think so?
Did you ever post about it, or did we talk about it at camp? I
don't really post about it a lot. No.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to bring it up here for the world. But.
No. There's like a whole thing. There's a whole thing around like doing ice bath and posting about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can do that.
Okay.
Hey, if I don't post about it, did it really happen? That's the question.
That's right.
But no, I do. I do it every day. I have a sauna and an ice bath, so yes, I do that stuff every day.
We have the sauna. My wife wants to get the ice bath. I'm not sure if I can get out of it though. That's my problem.
You would need to get some kind of modifications or something to it, but they're not deep.
I can get up.
You wouldn't drown in it.
I can get up.
No, actually, you know what? You know what? You could definitely get out of it because I'm thinking about when I was rolling jiu-jitsu with you. You have like this weird upper body mobility. You'd be able to like hook onto the side and yank yourself out.
I'm not so sure it's weird. It's just how I am now, but it's fine. It's cool. I don't know why it's got to be weird.
Dude, you'd probably like that ice bath because I know you run hot because you don't have the like as much radiator as the rest of us have.
My blood circulates faster through my body.
Yeah. So you would probably feel really good to you.
Yeah. Like refreshing.
It does feel good. I mean, all the stuff that you hear about it is true. Like you get in there, it sucks when you get in there, and then you're just like, yo. And I used to not dunk my head under because I have like real bad something called surfer's ears. Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, I know what cauliflower. I know surfer ears.
So surfer ears, it's the inside of your ear canal. Mm-hmm. You expose it to cold water a lot, and it starts to get bone growths, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So like my ear canals are like 85% shut, and so I get ear infections easily. So, but now I just like plug my ears with my fingers and just go under. And it feels really good. But yeah, when my son was like 9 years old, we were at a surf contest and they had a person there selling like earplugs because everyone gets surfer's ear and it's really bad out here in California. And he looked at my ears and he's like, dude. And then he goes, well, let me take a look at your son. And my son's like a maniac in the water. He would be in the water his whole life. And he like looks at my son's ear and he goes, I have never seen a child with ears like this. His ears were already like 40% closed at age 9. Jeez. Yeah, it was like, yo, bad father coming in hot. Next principle, get up, battle buddy. Never underestimate the power of a support system. We have to realize that while our individual experience may differ, the struggle is the same. 99.9% of all human beings struggle. It's just what we do. And then you quote a Harvard study.
Yeah, that's what I have 3 doctorates now. I'm a doctor 3 times over. Bates, Unity, and University of Maine, Augusta. What? My alma maters.
Check.
I showed up for a day for one of them. The other one, I showed up for a dinner and a day for the.
And they gave you like honorary doctorates?
You know, they still count. But yeah, okay. I got. You don't have any honorary doctorates?
I'm so impressed, bro. No.
What?
No. When I got done with the University of San Diego, I was like, I'm never going back to school.
No. I just went. I went for the graduation ceremony.
No, I don't know. Maybe I have too many arms and legs to get honorary degrees over here on my side.
Hold what you got. It's up to me. If you're taking advice from me for anything, hold what you got.
A Harvard study, apparently the longest study on human behavior, has found that overwhelmingly people who have deep personal relationships with others are happier than people who don't. Translation, you could be a billionaire and have all the material things you want in life and still be miserable. Money will not bring you happiness. Status will not bring you happiness. Deep personal connections you have will. It does not just affect emotional health. It also affects your physical health. One recent study found that seniors who consider themselves lonely have a 59% higher risk of physical and mental health decline and a 45% greater risk of death. Other studies liken loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Check. Okay. What about dogs? Are dogs in the game for that? Like, don't dogs make like pets make you kind of happier too?
Yeah, I hear good things.
Yeah,
you got dogs?
I do. I got dogs, but I don't have a service dog. I don't want a service dog. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take a dog everywhere.
Everybody's got a service dog now.
Yeah,
you go into the airport and there's people that are like walking around with a service dog. You don't know why. They seem to be healthy.
And you can't question it. That's the only thing. You can't question is this service dog is jumping up and peeing on everything. But no, I have 2 dogs. And they're just at my house. My wife I went at a golf tournament out in Iowa, and our old dog, we had to put him down. And I was like, you can just do it without me. It's cool. She's like, yeah, no. So I had to fly back from Iowa.
That's when the Army soldier slips out. Sometimes you're like, oh, got to put go ahead, take care of it.
Yeah,
I'll be back next weekend.
So I had to fly home knowing I was like, oh yeah, so I'm gonna land, get home, a vet's gonna come to our house, and we're gonna kill my dog. So cool. So like I had to do that, and then I always joke around like about service dogs. I'm like, everybody's like, you should get a service dog. I'm like, I got a dog. His name's Buddy. And they're like, yeah, but we can get your dog that listens. And I get offended because my dog Buddy was so good. I used to look at my dog and say, hey, Buddy, sit like when you want, you know. And eventually he would sit down.
Yeah, when you wanted.
Yeah. But no, we have a Fox Red Lab and a Havanese. They're good dogs.
Check. But do you think they help people live longer? Echo Charles assessment.
I hear good things. I've heard about, they give people all kinds of random pets, and yeah, they get like happy because they have more of a purpose. They can take care of it, all this stuff.
But now the fact that they don't live past like 12, 13, is that when they have to go? Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, that feels like they might jam somebody up for sure. Yeah, I've heard it with like dogs, cats, rabbits. People just have a pet to take care of.
Yeah,
kind of companionship scenario.
I think there's some truth to that. Yeah,
it feels like.
And some people like dogs better than people.
Yeah. My wife was saying the other day, my family was having a discussion about like what you would pay to like keep the dog alive and everything. And I think my oldest daughter, who's kind of cold-blooded, she was like, no more than 1,000, or something like that. And then, my little daughter was like, oh no, you do. And my son was like, dude, that's crazy. And then my wife says, I view Odin as one of my children. And I was just like, yo, if this dog gets sick, I'm going to be bankrupt.
Yeah. No, one of my friends, their dog had like cancer, his 3-year-old dog, and they spent like, I think $8,000 on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? You bought it for $300 probably. You can buy another lab,
You can buy a lot of labs.
And then I'm like, I would never do that. And Kelsey looked at me, she goes, oh yeah, you would.
Oh yeah, you would.
And like she was on their side, and I'm like, nah.
You got shut down.
Yeah.
You got shut down.
I mean, what was your number?
Look, my wife's, she's going to make the call on that dog. You know what I'm saying?
Same as my number. Yep.
We're going to back out of that conversation real quick. And my dog, I'm the alpha, you know what I mean, in the house.
Yeah.
Like he listens to me the most, but he does like her more.
Now, let me ask you a question, because I've never been to your house. Like, do you live in the country a little bit? I know where we're at right now.
No, I live by the ocean.
But, like, do you... Like, I live... Have you been to my house? I can't remember.
No.
Been to my, yeah, you did. Did you come for dinner?
No.
Okay.
No.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
No, thanks for the invite.
I did. You didn't fly in quick enough. I remember, because Leif and the ladies came... Yeah, anyway. So, I can go out my back or my porch, and I have 20 acres with no neighbors. Mm-hmm. So, I tinkle outside. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. But when my dog walks over and pees on top of mine, that's when I get angry. I'm like, excuse me?
Dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you... And the funny thing is, it's like the little dog first. He's just like a little 30-pound.
So he kind of out-alphas your dogs?
Well, he tries to. Uh-huh. But then, then I let him know. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. That's a weird thing to bring up, but I get pissed. I'm like, what are you doing?
Wait, that's a flex, right? For dogs?
I think so.
Peeing over your pee. I think
yeah.
so.
Enough.
Yeah.
Dude, there was an MMA fighter a while ago that his nickname was Show Enough the Master.
Yeah.
Remember that dude?
Yeah.
What was his real name?
Oh, the MMA fighter or the real Show
No,
Enough?
there was a MMA fighter whose name was, Bill Show Enough the Master Smith, or whatever his actual name was.
Oh, like a... Wait, I thought he was a regular martial artist, like traditional.
No, there was an MMA fighter whose nickname was Show Enough the Master, which I have to say is like one of the top nicknames.
Well, I saw Thug Nasty one again.
Yeah, he did.
Bryce,
yeah.
I didn't get to meet him yet, but he seems like a pretty decent guy.
He's a character. And that was a really good scrap, dude. He looked sharp. And he's down there.
He got hit pretty good.
He got cracked in the eye, but dude, he looked really good in that fight.
That guy could not defend the takedown.
And dude, this is a dude that's like, the wrestling he's doing is like with chickens right now. My boy Bryce, dude.
Yeah.
That dude's out wrestling chickens and going in the cage and jacking people up.
Well, because
God bless him.
Ty and Ian went out there. They had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
I think they FaceTimed me, actually.
Yeah.
But they had a great time hanging out with him.
Yeah, no, Bryce is a maniac, dude.
Yeah.
But... yeah, he looked really good in that fight. His nickname's good, Thug Nasty.
Thug Nasty. Well, Show Enough is from an old movie.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it's called The Last Dragon, which was the black. You know how they do like the black version of a like movie. It's like that's the black version of one of the Bruce Lee movies. So instead of Shogun, it was Show Enough.
Oh, that's legit right there.
Yeah, and that movie is actually pretty. It's a comedy movie.
Mm-hmm. So it's like Robin Hood and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah,
kind of a spoof, kind of.
Yeah,
like Scream and the Scream. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Is it a spoof? It's like kind of a spoof. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, it's a spoof. Yeah, for sure.
No, I don't mean in a bad way.
No, it's a funny movie. It's old school though, but that's where Show Enough came from. In fact, I always thought that too. That name is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Show Enough the Master.
Yeah, Show Enough the Master. Is that his full name in the movie?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn, dude.
Man, I was a little kid when I watched
that. But the thing is, it's a real problem if you try and give yourself a nickname that's that badass, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can't give you can't give yourself your own nickname like Nighthawk. Which I think I just took from Step Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Step Brothers, he says like, you call me Nighthawk or something like that.
Call me Dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah.
You can't give yourself cool nicknames. It doesn't work that way. Principle 8.
Yeah, back on.
One that I am familiar with from the SEAL teams. Never give up, never quit, ever. Push past your own personal best.
So when I came up with this, like my slogan, if you will, is never give up, never quit. Mm-hmm. I was doing sit-ups. After I got blown up, I was doing sit-ups, and I was 140 pounds, right? I lost 110 pounds, my injury. And I was doing sit-ups, and they were recording me. And as I was doing these sit-ups, the occupational therapist was like, "Hey, do you want to take a break?" And I'm like, "No, I'm never gonna take a break." I said, "I'm just never gonna give up, never gonna quit." And I just kept like ripping these sit-ups out. And I mean, I was so weak. I mean, drugged up, looked like a crackhead. And I was just like, that's where I came from. So
I'm never gonna stop.
Yeah. I was just like ripping them out.
It's freaking awesome, man. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here. You say having a growth mindset. Psychologist Angela Lee Duckworth is the best-selling author of Grit, Power of Passion and Perseverance. In it, Duckworth defines grit as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. In her words, quote, "Grit entails working strenuously toward challenges, maintaining effort and interest over the years despite failure, adversity, and plateaus in progress. People are born with various levels of grit, but Duckworth contends that it is a trait that develops through experience. One key to improving it, as she points out in her TED Talk, is by shifting your mindset from a fixed to a growth orientation." So you also have some tips in here about how to stick it out. Don't overthink it. And again, you get the book. Take your time.
You keep saying I have these tips, but you wrote the foreword. It's we. Now we have these tips.
Yeah, we have these tips in our book,
buddy. In our book.
Am I getting a cut?
Well, I tell you what,
I didn't see that in the contract, bro.
Yeah, well, I think it was if you would have narrated. Yeah, I think that's what was in the contract. But
yeah, Chuck. Take your time. Always be curious. Be a 1%er. The 1% rule is a theory of making tiny changes that add up. Well, we just covered something like that on the podcast. Be careful about perfectionism. And then you get to the fixed and growth mindsets here from another psychologist. You got all these psychologists in here, but you don't have Jordan Peterson.
Interesting. I didn't know if he would want to be in my.
Well, you didn't know who he is
24
until 15 minutes ago.
He's like, "Hey, this is my 25 through 36. What the hell?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize this is extension."
People with a fixed mindset, those who believe that abilities are absolute, are less likely to flourish than those who believe that abilities can be developed. In other words, with a growth mindset, you see challenges as learning opportunities rather than as obstacles to overcome. That's one of those things, man. You know people that are like that. Like, you know people, like I know people in my life where they like anything, they like look at it and they're like, I can do this. Like, I can figure this out. I can make this happen. It's a good thing to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's what Pete really. I feel like Pete Roberts. I mean, we've talked about a little. I feel like he did that too with like hey, we got to bring manufacturing back. Let me go get this old piece of equipment that hasn't ran in 40 years. Yeah. Let me just figure this out from nothing.
Which is freaking crazy. Well, I was going to say that I was thinking about that too when we were talking about like growing businesses. Like Origin started with one sewing. Actually, I think it was started with 2 sewing machines, 2 like broken sewing machines that didn't work. Like make them work. The loom, bro. The loom is crazy. Now we got 6 looms. I think 5 looms. One of them broke. But yeah, that's some growth mindset, right? It's like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you cannot manufacture here. You can't do this here." Oh, yes, we can. Watch this.
And not to like toot my own horn here, but let me just say,
it sounds like we're about to.
Beep. Okay, so I was the guy that would always like help somebody. Like I couldn't change the brakes that well. I could figure it out, but not like I was a mechanically inclined person. But when you lose your arms and legs and you have to literally explain to people what you need, like you have to figure some shit out. So like for me now, after my injury, I have to break everything down to like how am I gonna even like making like as simple as like making an egg sandwich in the morning. Not even egg, I can't crack eggs. So I'm saying like a ham and cheese. Like I'm like, okay, I gotta get this out first. I gotta make sure I have this set up. And like I never did that before, right? I just like run to a wall and just try to like, I can't figure it out. Let me just ask. I'll phone a friend. I'll Google it. But after being injured, like I have to like think every single step of how I need to do something out before I do it, because if I don't, it can go real bad real quick.
So you got to be more
patient,
and what's that word? Like proactively thinking about way you're gonna execute things.
Yeah,
because you can get like tripped up in a situation that's gonna be shitty.
Well, like, it's funny you said shitty because I wasn't going to say that, but like, say I got to use the restroom, right? I got a hook I got to make sure I get my legs off the right way. My shorts got to come off the right way. I got to make sure I'm all set up so that after I take everything off, I can put it all back on to like make sure I don't have to call someone to help me out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just like it's all a process now, which is fine, right? It's fine. It's like your new normal. I talk about find your new normal, but it's just. I never had that before, but now it's like I can only get frustrated so much if I can't figure something out or I can't get someone to help the way I need them to help, because what's it going to do for me?
Yeah, dude, your patience must be like level ninja.
For myself. With other people, not so much. You know what I'm saying?
Not for your not for your 6-year-old son, Dax.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
Patience is thin.
My daughter, I call her. She's like, I'll be right there. 1 sec. And I hear her talking to her friend Ashley or Emily still, and I'm like, I don't know what you didn't get about when I said get over here. Like, she says, geez, Dad, just calm down. I can do it faster than you. I'm like, you know what, you little turd. Oh, this is 12. This is 12.
So it's only gonna get worse before it gets better. I'll tell you that much right now. Principle number 9: swim with the sharks, walk with the horses. Make fear your friend. I'm going to read a little section here. For me, the fear of failure hits home. When I was growing up and playing a lot of competitive sports, I never wanted to fail, and I took that fear to my military days as it folded in nicely with the military's hard-ass philosophy of always having a game face. I always wanted to make sure that I led from the front and never showed any weakness, because if I did, my guys would lose faith in me. I knew that if that happened, they wouldn't follow my orders that were meant to keep them alive. That fear drove me. When I became injured, I was confronted with a new, seemingly impossible, insurmountable fear. How the hell was I going to take care of my wife and daughter with no legs and arms? Who did I think I was? Because I was certainly no longer Staff Sergeant Mills, fearless leader of combat soldiers. I was instead lying in a bed, helpless, limbless, and jobless. That immediate fear I had in that hospital bed lasted for weeks, months even. No one saw it, though. I wouldn't let them. I wouldn't let fear win. I probably didn't handle this perfectly, but in the military, you're taught if you stop moving forward, you die. So even though I couldn't physically move forward, I knew I had to move on emotionally. I used this fear as a motivating factor to help me. Yeah. Here's getting into some steps that you've got here to help you overcome fear. Number 1, know what your fear is. Is there something in your life you want to change but don't? Knowledge is power. Number 2, acknowledge that a bit of fear is good. It means it is taking you out of your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Know that it is normal to feel this way. And many people feel fear. You are not alone. These two right here, making sure that people know that like that's okay, and acknowledging that it's good. I originally had that conversation with guys in the teams, like especially like young guys. Like you could see like before an op, like it was first couple ops on deployment, you could see they're like real nervous, and just being like, hey dude, got some butterflies in your stomach there, homie? You just went to the bathroom 4 times in the last 15 minutes. And it's like, no, I'm good. It's like, hey, bro, it is good. Like, you should feel afraid. You should be like nervous because you're going to getting ready to go out into combat. And I had that same conversation with quite a few MMA fighters before fighting in the UFC, where, you know, they might have, all those guys, like, you don't get to the UFC without having competed your whole life in wrestling or in jiu-jitsu or in whatever. And so they're feel real comfortable. And then all of a sudden you get to the UFC, dude, it's 100% they're going to be nervous because it's the UFC. And you see them get nervous, and just being able to tell them, hey man, you feeling nervous, huh? Dude, I don't know, man. It's like, hey man, it's good. That's your body, your mind getting ready for combat. It's okay.
Well, it's heightened senses too, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's your body and your mind getting ready.
Yeah.
It's how it should be. Number 4, share your fear with others who will understand what you are going through. Number 5, stop negative thinking in its tracks. Number 6, plan. Number 7, call it. Realize that you have a choice to get over fear or not. Number 8, give yourself a big hoo-yah for going for it. Now, you use the term hoo-yah. Why did you use the term hoo-yah?
Super great question for my collaborative author, Kathy.
Okay. Just because we know that in the Army, you say hooah.
Yeah. I say airborne. I never said hooah.
And as a matter of fact, the only place they say hoo-yah is in the SEAL teams. They've started to say it in other places now in the Navy.
Maybe that's because SEAL teams are the best, you know? Maybe if they had a movie out, you know, that I would have been able to see, I would have tried to go for a SEAL team.
If only there were more books about the SEAL teams.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'll get right to work.
Yeah, thank you. Well, no, I'm not in high school anymore. I mean, I had my choice. Navy didn't have the best reputation when I was looking at the services.
Did you even know what the SEAL teams were when you were looking at the services?
No, I was looking at Rangers and Special Forces. And then I had the Ranger contract, and I feel like I could have did it, but they were like, yeah. They got me.
You and I had that conversation on the first time. Yeah. Is like, you were definitely a way better athlete than I was. like not even close. But for some reason, I was like cocky enough to think like I'll make it through that training, and for some reason, you were like, "Oh, I'm not sure," which is a weird thing.
Yeah, it was just like they were like, "Oh, hey, we go send you whatever unit you want," because they were just trying to plus units up to go overseas, and they were like, "You're gonna go there. It's gonna be 6 months wait here," and I was like, "We're all like, well, we gotta get in the fight right now." I shipped out a week later, like those guys went like the next day.
Yeah.
And then we still hung out with them like at UNC Chapel Hill, all my friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's weird that in 2006 you thought you needed to like hurry up and get in the fight. The war had already been going on for 5 years, and it was going to go on for another 15.
Well, because that one time I got blown up, I didn't know the future. It's kind of the same situation there. Like I didn't know how long it was going to be. But the drill sergeant's like, dude, you got to get over there.
In 2006, bro, I mean, there was no slowing down in sight. It wasn't like this.
10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're a young kid.
Yeah, but
how old were you? So were you like 19 when you enlisted, or were you 20?
I was 18, but then I turned 19 in basic.
Because you went to 1 year, or no, you only went to like
semester and
one.
A half.
Well, yeah,
yeah, semester and a half.
Shaq.
I only have a year and a half left. Like if I would now, it's probably expired, but I only had a year and a half left for like a degree. If I would have, because I did college up, I kept re-enlisted to go to college.
But you got 3 doctorates. Why do you care anymore?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not going. I literally had my daughter doing she was doing math like last year, and they were doing this Common Core thing, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Danny does it this way, and Susie does it this way. I said, Chloe, cross out Susie's name and put my dad. And I showed her how to do long division. She's like, this is so much easier. I'm like, yeah. So next day, like she got to show her class like long. The teacher goes, that's what we're trying to get you guys to do. And Chloe's like, yeah, this is what my dad said. This is his philosophy, how he does it.
The Common Core thing is definitely strange.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen it yet, Echo? Your kids might be too old or too young.
No.
Oh.
I've seen
so you're like, wait a second, just subtract 1, Bro, and they're like, well, no, what you need to do is add 2 and then remove 3, and then you're going to get the answer of -1. Like, it's just real strange.
Yeah. I don't like feeling dumb at 6th grade or 5th grade math, and I'm just like, nah, just cross it out and say, my dad says this is how he does it.
You're going to have a fun time at the parent-teachers conference.
I did get yelled at by my wife because I said, Chloe, when you go to school tomorrow, like this was last year, 6th grade. I said, when you go to school, just tell him that your dad, owns a few businesses. He's, and in my 35 years of being alive, because that time was 35, I said, I've never used this once a day in my life. So just let them know that I own these businesses and I've never used this crap ever. So I'm glad you're learning it. And Kelsey goes, you can't say that. I'm like, okay.
I would go to parent-teacher night. I haven't done it in a while. But the last time I went, I like took selfies with all the teachers, like with a crazy face, and sent them to them, because then my kids were like, what are you doing? My son didn't even do it because it wouldn't like phase him. He'd just be like, whatever, But my daughters, I took crazy like selfies with all their teachers, like, let me get a selfie with you. Number 9, debrief. Think about how you would improve, show a growth mindset.
Oh, I was going to touch on something quick with the previous one, when it says like, I wouldn't let anybody see what was going on. Like I had my community, but I thought it was a Japanese philosopher that said like, there's your friends that know you, there's like your spouse that knows your intimate friends, or how people know you, how your friends know you, than actually who you really are. For 6 months, I couldn't look in a mirror at myself. I just wouldn't. I literally would brush my teeth off to the side because I couldn't see just this little arm as I was brushing my teeth with a prosthetic, and it was like so hard for me. But nobody knew that because I was in the bathroom by myself when I was doing that. And like I said, I probably didn't do the mental health thing the right way, but
I wonder if like the prescription would be like, oh, you should have told your wife, or you should have told your friends, or something like that.
I mean, I'm sure somebody else is feeling like now you're deformed. Like I was deformed, mutated in a way. I still am, but like I can accept this is my body now, But I mean, as far as like have the community and have people you like rely on and stuff like that, like that's advice I need to take, because at the time I couldn't even. I didn't look in a mirror at all. If it wasn't like neck up, I wasn't looking.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it took you like 6 months, you're saying, to like where you're like started to accept it?
Yeah. Kind of like, okay, well, this isn't changing. I went to bed every night hoping it's going to change. It hasn't changed yet. I don't think it's going to grow back. And yeah. I mean, I hate to bring the mood down. I mean, I didn't mean that in a bad way. But sometimes, it takes
it's wild.
time.
You were talking earlier about like that feeling like, okay, this must be a dream and I'm just going to wake up and it's going to be over. And, we've all probably had bad dreams where we like wake up and you're so relieved that it was a dream, and you're just like, after a while, you keep wanting to have that feeling that it ain't happening.
And I was okay. Like, I was accepting my injuries and I was getting better. I was working out, but it was like, just, there was different things, you know. There's different things. Like, I actually think in this book, in the picture section, like the picture with the orange hat's in there.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the picture now. But at the time, I was like, no, I can't. I remember having that kind of go viral with Jenna putting me on Fox News and all that stuff, that picture. And my sergeant major called me, and I was in launch school. And I said, Sergeant Major, I'm so sorry. That picture, I shouldn't have had that hat on. I was out of regulation. I understand if I got to get a demotion. Like, best job I ever had. I appreciate it, but I apologize for it. He's like, Mills, you crazy son of a bitch. What are you talking about? Yeah. I was like, well, I have a baseball cap on outside. Like, yeah, I shouldn't have had that on. I'm sorry. And he was just like, I think you're good. I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. Never mind. Forget what I said then.
Jenna trying to get you in trouble. Principle 10, a new normal. Your vulnerability is your strength. Vulnerability is defined as the ability or the chance of being physically or emotionally wounded. In the military, we don't like vulnerability since it can imply that you're in danger or in a weak position. Being vulnerable is the very thing you didn't want to be as a soldier after all. When a soldier is vulnerable in a vulnerable position, you can get killed, vulnerable to the enemy, vulnerable to attack. We were trained to not be vulnerable. Yet in real life, it takes on a different meaning. While being vulnerable on the battlefield means weakness, being vulnerable with yourself doesn't have to mean you're weak. In fact, it can mean the opposite. Being vulnerable is strength. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like opening up. Like, I mean, just when I was saying my Alive Day, how I hated it, it irritated me. I never wanted to celebrate it. And then all of a sudden I said, you know, but after the last 8 years or whatever it was, whatever Alive Day it was, I realized, like, it's a thank you for all the hard work that went into my recovery. Doctors, nurses, staff, therapists at Walter Reed, you know, prosthetists, everybody that got me back where I was at. And it was a more gratitude of what was done to save my life rather than anger of being injured or thinking about the day I got blown up as like a positive. And then like having Taylor like, hey man, nailed it. Like that man, and Taylor doesn't say very much. Like he's a good guy, but he's pretty dry, quiet, hilarious. But, you know, and him just saying that, like, just nailed it. I think it's all he texted me. I was like, man, that's cool. That we awesome. Can, you know, have that. Like, he felt the same way, but we never voiced it. But, you know, I like, you know, they say always negotiate from a position of strength. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, because a lot of times I feel like I'm just trying to be on the same level. I don't want to be above or like do this because I'm in power. But I find myself using my story, what happened to me, to like help mentor people and talk to them. So like I use the vulnerability of my story, but it's never like on the same level as somebody where I'm like I'm not asking people for their, you know, advice on my injuries, and maybe I need to do better about that, because I'm more of like, I want to be the mentor, not the mentoree, if you will. You know, unless it's you. I'll talk, you know, you two out. But when
I'm like, I know you feel I sprained my ankle last week, so I kind of let me give you some advice on mental toughness.
Right. No, I get it. That's right. You did crawl with a broken leg 8 miles, and then walk 10. Yeah, then walk up the hill to school and back up the hill home with a broken leg for 5 days. I heard the whole story. I get it. I know that you don't know about
vulnerability like I do, bro.
Well, I tell you what. Have your arms and legs taken away and have to use the restroom. And have the corpsman have to help you every time. Yeah, you are vulnerable.
Yeah,
and that was like the worst, like literally the worst time, like the worst part of my life was having to do like with that part. As soon as I got my arm, I was like, never again. Yeah, because they have these surgeries out there, like they'll put steel rods in my arm, and they're like, it's called osseointegration, but I'll be without an arm for like, 1 day's too long.
What would the purpose of the steel rods going in your arm be?
Gets rid of the socket completely, and then the hand hooks right into it, and then they just. They do it with the legs too. A lot of people you see with legs like that, they have steel rods come out of their leg.
No kidding.
And like it helps with the overheating, because I have 3 layers on my legs that like don't sweat. You know, like it's up my inner thigh.
So you're saying there'd be a metal protrusion coming out of your body?
Yeah.
How do they like keep it sealed and not getting infected?
Well, there's a ton of medication I think you got to take just in case. But they're trying to redo the dermatology. The dermatologists are doing like skin. And they're trying to make it like your skin on either your fingernails skin or your gums. Try to change it to that. But I'm not going to.
But you're not doing it because you're not going to go without an arm.
Yeah, without an arm, I'm not going to go without legs for 9 months. That's what it takes usually. So it's cool, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Plus, things are advancing so fast now that you could probably wait like another 2, 3, 4 years. They'll have some new advancements.
Well, stem cell, they're actually regrowing people's limbs. They just can't figure out how to make it stop. Crazy stuff going on right now.
So you just grow like the biggest arm ever?
Well, I mean, I don't want that.
You like Echo over here?
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I think that's length. I think you just won't. You have real long arms, right? After a while,
get the best bear hugs ever.
So wait, so for real, they can take stem cells and your arm will keep growing?
I met a Navy doctor that was at, I think NIH doing that, and he was like, "Hey, this is coming in the next like 10 to 15 years, and like it's your nerves, it's your body."
Damn.
But I don't know. I mean, two of the guys that are quadruple amputees got double arm transplants. So like there was 5 of us. Now there's only 3 because the other 2 quit our club.
And the arms are functional and working and
yeah.
Can they grab things?
Kinda. Kinda. They do a lot more sandwiching. You know, like pinching it. If they're happy, I'm great. If they're happy, happy for them.
I just know replacing nerves or connecting nerves is really freaking hard.
Centimeter a month for 18 months, and that's it. So like this little guy, what are you gonna do? This one, I'd probably get something, but then I was like, I got someone else's hand on, which really kind of freaks me out. And not talking bad about the people that do it. Like, please, if you're listening and you're like, well, I have that done. Good for you, but I don't know.
Yeah, and again, probably if you wait like 3 years, 5 years, stuff is advancing so quickly now that things will probably just improve a ton. Like I got neck surgery many years ago, and just after I got neck surgery, they came out with like replacement discs, like a little vertebrae that you can put in there. And it was like experimental, and I knew a couple guys got it and everything. And one of my friends got pretty bad problems with it. Didn't work out good. But now like a bunch of people have gotten it and it works really good. And this was over the span of 10 years. So the advances and things are improving so much faster right now. Like just with technology is just improving so rapidly because like AI, you can have AI working on some problem while you're not having to do anything. You know, you just like run the protocols or whatever. Figure it out.
They're doing 3D printing now for socket fits. And they're like awesome. They fit better than the molds that they're doing.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have it, but that's what I've been told.
But you might eventually get something like that.
You know, let me tell you something. The Vietnam vets, they come in with their old sea legs, and they come in with their old, body powered hooks. You're like, hey, check out this. Like this hand spins 3. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that cool? You want that? No. What I got works. And then I get told like, hey, they got this new thing. I'm like, cool. I'm that Vietnam vet now. I'm like, no, what I got works.
How long did it take you to learn how to work the hand?
So it took me, 5 weeks to get a hand. And they have like the sensors hooked to my arm, so I like have to flex a certain way for it to make it work.
The sensors that are hooked to your arm, are they like pads that you push into? Yeah. That you push into basically?
Kind of. So like.
It's like a button in there.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Make a fist real quick. Make a fist. Rev the engine like on a motorcycle. So this muscle right here, I have that, and the muscle down. If you go down, the muscle down here. Oh yeah. So if I twitch this muscle slow, it opens. If I flex it, towards the ceiling, if I flex it up fast, it rotates right to the left. And then if I go down slow, and then down fast.
Got it. But you don't think about that anymore.
I mean, kinda, but like people, because I can't feel. So when I grab something like this can, I have to like watch what I'm doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was in the VA bathroom like when I first retired. And I was taking a pee, not paying attention. I just grabbed right a hold of myself, and I about passed out from the pain. And I had to like breathe through it. Like, okay, we got to breathe this out because I need to unflex this. I need to flex this hand up slowly. Yeah. I really got to stop grabbing my wiener at the urinal right now because I almost passed out from the pain. I mean, I was like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. So if you like tense your arm because you're in pain, does it grab harder, and all of a sudden you're just in a real pickle?
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good. But I remember like in the bathroom, like breathing it out, like, okay, like talking myself off the ledge, like this is not good.
A problem.
Yeah. I was just happy no one walked in on me talking to myself at the urinal. Like, let go. Just we're just going to let go right now. That's off the rails. Anyway, sorry.
All right.
Well, okay, so yeah,
go.
Like, things happen, right? Like the other night, my one arm, I have a couple arms, and I usually put one on the charger, and I wear one, and I switch them out. Mm-hmm. Well, I had the one on longer than I thought, so it died. So I had my arm on with a hook, and I had to go upstairs at 10:30 at night, right? Everybody's already in bed. I'm up watching college football or something. Mm-hmm. I grab my other arm. I go out to the elevator. I try to switch the hook out. The hook falls on the ground. Okay, now I don't have. So now, right, what I have is my hook on the ground. I'm in my wheelchair, and I can't reach it. Well, then I switch out the hand. I switch this arm out, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to switch it out quick and get the one that's powered. So I put the one that has the power on it. I can't get that. I knocked the other arm onto the ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm like trying not to fall on my chair, like brushing it over against the wall. I got to go downstairs. I got to drive over and get my hand, put my hand on this arm, get it to work, pick up the other arm, pick the hook up, take the hand off, put the hook on. But again, this is all like I'm banging and clanging stuff where I'm waking everybody up. But like that's where you got to stay patient, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't like grabbing myself, like passing out from pain, but boy, I was mad. And that's when you're like, why is this my life? Like, are you kidding me right now? Mm-hmm. But I made it work. Mm-hmm. You know.
How long does the power in the arm last for?
About a day and a half.
Oh, okay.
Day and a half, 2 days.
And you got 2 of them on rotation?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a few of them.
Check. All right.
Because then when I go to get them, they're like, sometimes like, well, you want another one? I'm like, well, yeah. And then they look at me funny. I'm like, you ever had no hands and then have one not work and then you need one because you don't have them?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what happens to me. So
give me another one.
So I'll take another, please. Yeah. within the guidelines.
Principle 11. Serve. Find your voice, build on your strengths, and live meaningfully. So this is where we start talking about this is PTG, post-traumatic growth. I'm no expert, so I point at PATH founder, and this is PATHH founder Josh Goldberg, who wrote Struggle Well to better explain how this happens. A great deal of the time, people who go through these difficult life experiences, these traumas and these losses, often reported in the aftermath of that experience, going through the process of post-traumatic growth. This leads them to report that their life had changed for the better in terms of it being more authentic and more meaningful and more purposeful than it was before they had the experience. They talk about growing in terms of their sense of hope for the future, a recognition of the value of deeper relationships with other people, a sense of personal strength, the idea that nothing can permanently knock us down, an appreciation for the small and big things in life, and spiritual and existential growth. The idea that they are now asking and reflecting upon the deepest questions that life can offer us. Who am I? Why am I here? And where do I belong? And that's what post-traumatic growth describes, and what the entire science and concept behind it are all about. So this is just like the opposite of, well, maybe it's not the opposite of, but it's a different take on post-traumatic stress disorder, which is like, I got a real problem because of this bad thing happened to me. This is, hey, this bad thing happened to me, and I'm actually better because of it. And
then did I not spell out what PATH meant in there?
It's not in here. I found it on your website.
Absolute
though. It is progressive and alternative training for helping heroes.
So that's the nonprofit that we partner with, and we have there's like 10 facilities around the nation, and that's for combat veterans, and it's for first responders, and it's a week-long course. We get a big grant. Avalon Action Alliance. Anyway, we get a grant for it, and then there's places like throughout the nation that do it, and it's one of the best in the nation. And I look, I know we have it in my foundation, so I'm like, oh, it's the best in the nation, but really it is. I mean, the amount of letters we get from either the person that came or the family members, spouses, moms, dads, about the change they actually see in the person that came to the program. It just lift you up, you know. I mean, we had a few people say like, "This is my last thing. I was going to commit suicide after this."
It's the most effective one that you've seen.
Well, there's this one, and there's one out of Massachusetts called Home Base that I believe in as well. It's a 2-week program. This is a 1 week, and then follow-ons, and it's cool because it's train the trainer. I mean, everybody wants to train the trainer. It's people that have been through the program that actually did serve, whether we have some state troopers as well as combat veterans that lead it. And the thing is, you have to fill out the paperwork yourself. Like if say your wife thinks you should go and she hits up the website, she fills it out, doesn't matter. This person has to want to go. And if you sign up, you'll get in, but just they're on a little bit of a back order, so they're expanding right now. I mean, yeah, and this isn't like any big secret. I think we're buying another facility to actually run just Path out of.
Where?
Just down the road, actually. Okay. So actually, it's down the road from the camp, the immersion camp.
Okay, right.
So we're talking not even 3 miles, probably a mile and a half from where the immersion camp is.
Will it be a year-round camp?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think we're about to put the offer in.
Okay. Awesome.
But it could fall through. But we're trying to find a facility so we can do, instead of the 12 weeks we do now, at least 24 weeks. Because there's 9 days that is total for the Path Guides, but we're trying to do that full time because there's so much need right now.
Yeah.
And they're opening the program for a few other people. I don't think I can go into that right now, but they're opening the program for more people to be able to do it.
Good. No, just reading about it sounds like an awesome program. And again, you got more information here in the book about it, so that's cool. Going back to the book here, it says, like I said, at the end of the day, you get one go around in life. You get one chance to make your mark. How do you want to leave your mark on this world? The answer should give you purpose. If that's being a coach and giving your all to the students, or being a parent and being the best darn parent there is, then how can you be better at that every day? And that leads to the final principle number 12. Make it a daily practice. Ask yourself, what is stopping you from recalibrating? Resilience isn't something that you get like a sticker or a badge and then you carry around for your life. You need to continue to work at it. And you will want to, because we all need it again and again. Hopefully by now you have learned that pain is good and important. Never fun or easy, but we can learn from it and build a resilience for it. Science shows that we can develop and improve our resilience, but it requires practice and consistency. Yeah, I think this is, the biggest message, or the underlying message in the book is like, we all have the ability to get better, stronger, and recognizing that the pain and suffering that you have, first of all, you're going to have it. You're going to have it in life. It doesn't matter. You're going to have it. There's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering. You're going to face disease. You're going to lose people. You're going to have to freaking fly home and put down your dog. Like, things are going to suck sometimes. And you got to be able to deal with those things. And this is another interesting point on that. Every day is a choice. Humans make about 35,000 conscious decisions each day. Each decision, of course, can change your life in big ways and smalls, for better or worse. While I couldn't stop that IED from doing its job that day, I can stop it from detracting from the rest of my life. From those decisions, you have a choice of how to react. Do you choose to be angry, isolated, fearful, untrusting? Or do you choose to be hopeful, fearless, and trusting? Yeah, I mean, that right there, recognizing that you have the ability to decide which way you're going to go.
And the thing is with the book is we like you said, we have other people's stories too. People go through divorce, house fires, cancer. We all face something in life. Like you said, there's just things that happen to us, and it's how we want to react to them. It's how we want to get through them, and it's not like unheard of. Like, I'm not the only person to get blown up, lose my arms and legs. As unique as it is, I'm not the only one. And I had a guy that came to the hospital to tell me I'm not a bad person, God doesn't hate me, nothing I did in life made me deserve this, and that I was going to be A-okay. I was going to learn how to walk, drive, feed myself. And he was a second ever quadruple amputee, and moreover than that, he was a Marine. So I was like, man, if he can figure it out, I can't be that hard. No, good guy, Todd, nicely. And that's the thing, like, people have all, it's probably bad to say been there, done that, but people, they face the same problems. Whether they think they're alone or not, or they believe that no one's out there like them, there's somebody out there that's most likely been through it. And, that's what I was trying to do with this is try to highlight my story and my outlook, but using other people's stories and their outlook, and then, like you said, I got all this. I missed out on the most important psychologists. Apparently, I apologize. For that. But maybe next time.
Maybe next book.
Yeah.
The next 12 rules of warrior resilience. You can get it in there.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's like such a good guidebook, and you're right. I didn't. When I was highlighting what to read, and after I read the book, I wanted to kind of focus on the principles themselves today, but the stories that you've got in the book, and they're not all your stories. Are your stories, but a lot of them are stories of people that you know, people that you've worked with, people that have come through, and they've got their struggles that they've been through, whether it's losing a spouse and then losing a child. Like, you got a woman in there that suffered through that. You got, victims of disease, people that have been through, got severe PTSD. So there's
the Sergeant Major that he lost a lot of guys.
Yeah. 20, I think you said 22 guys.
Yeah. A lot more wounded too. He's one of our path guides, actually.
Yeah, that's so like what better guy to be able to talk and help people out for that.
And I wasn't criticizing how you did this. I just meant I appreciate the fact you're highlighting this. I didn't want to be. Did it sound like criticism?
No, it didn't come across that at all. It just reminded me.
You grabbed your knife when I said it. So I was just like, shit.
When you mentioned that, I remember thinking consciously, like, okay, there's these stories that will definitely be able to show as examples, but we'd just be like, I might as well just read the book. Might as well just do the audiobook, which is apparently what you wanted me to do anyways.
Well, yeah. Sorry. You know what? I'm the worst. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. Only when I ask her what's for dinner at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, it's not a good move. Don't need Path to tell you that. Every day is about control. A major plot point in this book is that you can't change what happened to you nor make it go away, but you can control your attitude. After all, you don't want to fall into the category of learned helplessness or victimhood. Here are a few ways to stave off helplessness, and you got a bunch of them in here. Be optimistic, have a creative outlet, get walking. Any exercise is good. You got this thing, practice a Japanese thing called forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, which is like going out into the wilderness, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that was my idea, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
For
while you're at it, walk to the gym. Be grateful. Like, these are the key components that you've got. So much about gaining and maintaining resilience is about practicing it. And life gives us many opportunities to practice. Am I right? Once you make resilience a daily practice, it will become second nature. And with that inevitable next crisis or challenge, you will be that much stronger and prepared to take it on. It will be about how to put the next foot in front of the other and keep you going. Always bounce back. And just to close out the book, I want to read one little section from the epilogue. It just says, as you finish this book, I want to leave you with this message. You are a lot more resilient than you think you are. And there are things that you can choose to do to allow that resilience to bloom. Are you ready to make that choice?
Man, I sound like a genius whenever you guys do this. I'm telling you what.
A little bit of a miracle worker over here, I guess.
Yeah, I'm telling you what. Yeah.
No, man, it is. It's because, honestly, think about what you've been through. Think about where you're at now. Like, you've got some freaking lessons learned to pass on, and you pass them on in the book. Are you ready to make that choice? And that's like the question, right? And like I said, you're living proof that it truly is a choice.
Yeah.
Our attitude, our perspective, our ability to bounce back, that's on us, So this book is going to help a lot of people. And it's going to, look, you don't need to be in one of these severe moments right now to be like, oh, well, I don't really have any trauma right now, so I don't need this book. This stuff is effective for, as Echo pointed out, like every day. What little, you lost your job. That's probably not going to leave like some big traumatic mark on you, but guess what? You got to make some adjustments in life, right? Mm-hmm. You got some things you're going to have to get through. You might go through like a relationship issue. Like maybe you get, you split up from your girlfriend if you're 19 years old. That can be traumatic when you're 19, right? Or you're getting a divorce. Like things that may not seem as severe as like what guys in the military might go through. There's still, the principles in this book are going to be able to help you out. And what's really nice is when you do face something that's more severe, when you lose a loved one, when there's some horrible disease that enters your world, you'll definitely have some tools to work through that stuff. And I think this is going to help out so many people.
Well, I appreciate that. Also, I was thinking, what is your nickname? Because I was about to call you Big Mac because you're the secret sauce, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Is that?
No, my nickname is just Jocko.
Just Jocko.
Yeah.
All right. So
my parents gave me that nickname before I was even born.
I know 2 other nicknames, by the way.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, what are they?
Mothra.
Oh, that's an old school one.
Yep. And the other one is Way of the Streets.
Dang.
Yep. It's old school.
So I remember Mothra.
Yeah.
Why did I come up with that?
I don't know why.
I forget what it was. There was
Mothra is the bad guy on Godzilla.
He was like the bad guy on Godzilla, but there was so Echo's brother had a social media platform before any of these other social media platforms were around, and it seemed like there was 30 people on it, right? That's what it seemed like to me. Yeah, there was probably thousands, but like
they're like we would kind of all interact with each other.
There was just a small group of people that I actually knew the people, and for some reason,
it's a true story.
There was probably some shit talking about like being Godzilla or something, and then I came back with like, well, I'm Mothra, and it's probably something stupid like that. And then what was the other one? Way of the Streets. Where did that come from?
I forget where it was, but to me that one was like the one that I would use from time to time.
Oh,
Way of the Streets.
Just Way of the Streets.
I forget where
it might be because we made that old advertisement for Victory MMA where I was like, in the streets. I was saying that jiu-jitsu's good like on the mat, in the cage, or in the streets.
Okay, so to correct Jocko, because I remember way better. So he said his closing line in one of the videos was gi, no gi, or in the streets. And then it says, dun, 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 then he says, making things work, making people hurt. That's what Jocko said, his closing line. And then it came up later. I forget what like what we're doing or what, I don't know, but it was written like Way of the Street. Like, I think you signed something. I don't know. It was like Way of the Streets. And one time you said when we were gonna go train, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be there at noon or whatever, and then I would like talk some trash or whatever, and you'd be like, whatever, then I'll see you at noon, gi or no gi, then period, wait for a little while. Or, of course, in the streets.
In the streets.
There you go.
In the streets.
So I don't know if I'm secret sauce, but I can make some stuff work, make people hurt in the streets.
Yes, that's right. That's
in
right.
the streets of justice.
I found that as much as I really appreciate the gi that I got at camp, it's better to be no gi because no one can gi choke me.
Yeah, well, you're at a disadvantage with gi because you can't grab. You can't grab the gi, so you're much better off with no gi for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind if they wear a gi. I'm just saying I don't want to wear one. It sets me up for failure.
Gi is not good for you.
I thought about going naked, just like see who's really dedicated enough.
You can claim victory. I'm not getting into
that's a shot at the old self-esteem, but okay. That's cool. And I've been slim fasting. I don't know if you noticed.
You've been what?
Slim fasting.
Sun fasting?
Slim
fasting.
Yeah.
Check.
No, actually, I tried to do the RTDs, but then I drink too much of them. Like this is not reducing any calories. Well, I did like the crush, like how crushable these are. Like you did that story because I find myself, I'm on my third Jocko go, and I haven't had any water today.
Yeah,
it's like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, you're gonna be awake for 19 hours.
Yeah.
There's electrolytes.
You definitely got to be. You definitely got to be a little bit careful on that. That's what I find. Like I had one. Normally, I don't drink them like after like maybe 2 o'clock. Occasionally during the week, if I'm going to train the jiu-jitsu, then I'll drink one on the way here. But then you exert so much energy, you're just going to be tired. But if I'm just not doing anything and I drink one, bruh.
That's basically what I do. I just ride around and do a bunch of phone calls and conference meetings and stuff, and I just drink them.
Yeah.
Because, I work out for the gram, but that's it. Yeah. And then it looks like the one video that you guys put out looks like I actually am choking you out. You're telling me what to do, and it looks like I'm actually getting you. People are like, "Oh my gosh, can't believe you choked him out." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah,
I know. That was all make believe.
Yeah. So you got this book, man. Order it. Did we hit everything else? You got the Travis Mills Foundation, right?
Yeah.
You got the campus up in Maine, travismillsfoundation.org. I've been there. I've met a bunch of people that have been through the programs. You do everything up there: cooking, baking, martial arts, a ropes course, cycling, horse riding, shooting, hiking, golf, massage therapy, ice fishing, yoga, archery, kayaking, canoeing, boating, fly fishing, bass fishing, pottery, painting, and snowshoeing, to list a few of the freaking activities that people can do up there.
They bring out a dog sled in the wintertime, let people ride on a dog sled. That's actually it's pretty legit.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I mean, the other stuff's kind of cool too, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate just the chance to hang out with you guys. You guys are always awesome, and you know, with the book coming out, I'm fired up for it because I get asked all the time how I do it, and I thought, let me just figure out how I can show people how I do it, or how they can do anything that's hard in life, because we all have struggles and things like that we go through where you could use a little guiding light. And I mean, I got tired of just saying like, well, I just do, you know, I have to. You have two choices, right? The real Oliver Twist situation. Get better or don't.
What's the Oliver Twist situation?
Isn't that? No, that's Robert. That's a Forrest. Damn it, Oliver Twist.
Bro, he just made
Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist, man.
He just made a metaphor you didn't know.
No, it wasn't Oliver Twist. I'm thinking about Robert Redford. Damn it, I'm a doctor. Okay, I'm a doctor of 3.
What? I wonder what metaphor you could have been thinking of.
You know, the forest, both paths in the forest. It's like Robert Redford, maybe.
Robert Redford's an actor, isn't he?
Exactly. He says it. No, it's Robert Frost.
Oh, Robert
Frost.
2 roads diverged in yellow wood.
Yeah. What path I had to take, get better or not. Okay. I was Oliver Twist. I was like, please, sir, I want some more. Shit.
Well, it's just like Oliver Twist. And of course, I'm over here like, yeah, just like Oliver Twist, bro. Yeah, man.
You know, it was just like
that's a brilliant metaphor.
I did not.
Oliver
just
Twist.
like Annie, dude.
Yeah.
The sun will come out Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, the sun will come out tomorrow if you want it to. You know, if you let it. Just if you let it. Bet your bottom dollar.
What else you got going on? You got Rebel for Good. So we talked about that.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to buy rebelforgood.com. They're going to go and buy it.
They're going to love these shirts. They got the backwards R's. Everybody can turn their life around.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
So you can see that. You got the marina.
You got the marina.
Lakeside Lodge and Marina in East Winthrop, Maine.
It's just like we just named it Lakeside Lodge because it's called Lakeside Motel and Cabins. And Norman Bates really didn't help us out with the whole motel thing.
Yeah.
But we're actually doing a remodel right now. But it's going well.
Is it open?
It's fun. It closes down like 2 weeks. We have like the main building open, but
so lakesidelodge.com. But people can come in there in the springtime, start coming back up to Maine for vacation
but
land.
it's like #1 like fishing lake, so we have a lot of fishermen that come. Like #1 bass lake in Maine on a lot of charts.
No kidding.
Yeah, I don't fish, so when people come in the office, like, hey, where are they catching the fish at? I'm like, in the water. They're like, yeah, but where? I'm like, between the top and the bottom. I'm pretty sure. They're like, what do you know? What do you catch? Like, what do you? I'm like, I catch a buzz on my boat sometimes, but like that's accidental. I don't try to do that. But they get a little irritated.
And then you have the restaurant.
The restaurant,
too.
the restaurant's going pretty well.
WhiteDuckPub.com. Yes, it's WhiteDuckPub.com. I looked it up.
Sure, it's not White Duck Brew Pub.
No, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Anyways, if you Google White Duck Pub, you'll find it.
Yeah.
What's the main deal going on there?
It's just American Bistro. It's,
open year round?
Yeah, 11 to 9 every day. And we're a made from scratch kitchen, so nothing's ever frozen. Like our wings take like 13 hours to make. We sell a lot of them. We sold over 10,000 burgers the first year. This year we're like crushing that.
Damn.
And we have only one burger on the menu. It's not like you can get like this kind of burger and that kind of burger. It's like we have the White Duck Brew Pub burger.
What is the deal?
It's just really good.
But like, what is on a White Duck burger?
Lettuce, tomato, onion.
Like lettuce, tomato, onions. Just like it's a basic deal.
Yeah, it's not basic.
It's not gourmet.
Oh, it's gourmet for sure.
It's like how you cook it.
Yeah. It's true. And it's made with love. That's the kicker. So, and we have poutine. So like our #1 seller is actually the burger. Second thing we sell the most of is actually bacon. And third is potatoes.
Do you do breakfast or no?
No.
So how do you sell so much bacon on the burgers?
I think that's why everything tastes good. I think we just bacon on everything. It's like thick cut, delicious, like organic, whatever bacon of awesomeness. And then up the hill I own. Me and some buddies, we own a couple more buildings. We're putting a brewery in, and then eventually a distillery. I was in Arizona where JP was speaking. Actually, I was with JP. And I was speaking as well, but I was with JP there, and we had a booth right next to Mama Lee's booth. We actually split the fundraising.
Sweet.
$150,000 to each of us. It was really nice. Tarl Yarber put it on.
Nice.
You know,
Absolutely.
Grace, yeah. Yep. And this guy walks by. He's all tatted up, and he's pretty buff. And he walks by. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not a piece of meat. Stop looking at me like that, okay? My wife's a jealous type too, so it's not going to happen. And the guy wasn't even looking at me. Right. He's like, what? I'm like, I saw you checking my legs out, okay? Looks are free, but that's all you're going to get from me, bud. And just like hit a conversation off. Turns out His name's John Peasley, and his wife Sarah. Fantastic people. He is the biggest independent brewery and distillery owner in Arizona. Mm-hmm. He has Grand Canyon River Brewing and Spirits.
Sure.
And he's like, dude, I'll show you how to do it all. So he's like, give me he flew out to my gala. He hung out for a week.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Good dude. Navy,
so you're gonna build
vet.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and he does jiu-jitsu. He met Pete and Amanda at the gala. But
you're gonna do a brewery making beer. Mm-hmm. Is it just beer? Is it like whiskey or something else?
So here's the thing: you take beer, when it goes bad, you can turn it within 2 weeks into vodka, gin, whiskey. It takes 4 years for whiskey, but you can turn it all into that. Mm-hmm. That's what people do. So you can like go to the local distribution centers that got to send like all the old beer back, and instead of them paying to send it back, they'll just give it to you.
No kidding.
And then you get a crushing machine. You crush it down. You
crush beer.
You crush the beer down, right? So you crush the cans.
Oh, okay.
And then you take the cans, turn those in for the aluminum prices, and then you get all this old beer, and 2 weeks later you got all the stuff made for vodka, gin, whatever.
Are you the first person to think of this?
No, that's what John told me.
Oh, okay.
And people do it all the time. But like this guy, Pumpkinhead is a big beer that comes out. Mm-hmm. This guy had so much surplus, he didn't know what to do with it. Then he made ice pick vodka.
Boom.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to do, going down that path as well.
Yeah, but here's the beauty, right? Like I'm an equal owner, right? But I know my value is in these pearly whites. I smile, I shake some hands, I put some money in, mm-hmm. right? So out of the owners of the brewery, we have one guy that his son's a brewmaster, and he's going to like help out and work there. We have the other guy, he's put money in, he's a builder, he's mm-hmm. going to build it all. The other guy is me. And I'm just going to like shake hands, make deals, and say, hey, drink my beer because I have no arms and legs. People just feel bad for me.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the National Whole Builders Association or something out in Vegas, and like they love me, uh-huh. and they'll bring me back, and I'll be like, hey guys, I need all of you guys to buy my beer and sell it. And all of a sudden, Dogfish Head Brewing is not the only one that sold for $108 million. What? But then I visualized.
Do you know the name of your brewing beer?
Yeah, they're going to call it Castle Island Brewery.
Island.
Nope, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a different road that I drive on. It's gonna be called Island Park Brewing. I gotta get that out of my head.
Island Park Brewing.
Island Park, because right across from where my restaurant is, there's a bridge.
Make sure you get the URL for that like immediately.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, someone's gonna buy it as soon as they hear this, and they're gonna sell it back to you for $100,000.
All right, because I want to be called Humble Beginnings anyway. I want Humble Beginnings Brewery, but
okay, well.
So I might buy that too. We'll see.
Buy that both.
Yeah.
Buy them all.
No, I mean, I don't know. My wife wants me to slow down, but this is all stuff that I have business partners in that we all know our role, kind of. Like, I'm not going to go there and lug kegs, mm-hmm. you know. I would. I'm just handicapped. Yeah. But I definitely will promote it and try to get more people to drink it.
But you won't lug kegs. Check.
I mean, I might kick one over and mm-hmm. kind of, push it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my ability.
Awesome, man. Well, does that get us up to speed? Are we there? We up to
I mean, I just hope everybody wants to come hang out with me in Maine, because it gets lonely up there. Winters are long. Mm-hmm. Best time to visit's not in February. Mm-hmm. If you guys go there in February, I won't be there, but you're more than welcome.
Where do you go? Do you go somewhere else for real?
For like, yeah.
Arizona or something?
No.
Florida?
Uh-huh. Yeah, just like for a week.
Yeah. Like
the kids get a school week off. We go, when I say a week, I mean my wife pushes it to like 10 days, mm-hmm. which really turns into like 2 weeks.
Good.
But
I like it.
We have a rental property outside of Disney, so.
Sweet. Hey, where can people find you? So you got travismills.org. That's you.
That's me.
You got travismillsfoundation.org.
Yep.
And then you got lakesidedlodging.com. You got the White Duck Pub or Pub and Brewery something.com. We're really not sure 100%.
I think all, yeah. Just travismills.org. The website has all the little tiles, I believe, on there. I don't know.
Then you're on Twitter. You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram.
I tell you what, Instagram been growing. I've been doing some fun videos.
Yeah.
Taking a page out of your guys' book. I was like, hey, Ian Dow actually set me up with Evan.
Okay.
Ian's like, look, this he's talented. You're going to love him. He's my roommate now. And he's going to come do videos for you. And I said, look, all I want is reels. I want shorts and reels. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, he's cutting some good stuff, man.
Yeah. But that's at SSG.
Yep. Yeah. At SSG Travis Mills. Yep. And then you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, and you're in love with yourself on the gram is what I just heard.
I'm not in love with myself.
I want a bunch of reels of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I mean, do you know how much? Let me tell you something. Before I see any of my videos on Facebook and Instagram, I see you sitting talking to a mic, giving motivation like every day. Oh, but you don't want that. Okay, I see the difference. Yeah, I'm like, hey, I want that in my life, and you're like, I don't want it. Just kind of happens.
It just kind of happens. Yeah. So I don't know what Echo's doing over there. He's got a camera. It looks like maybe he's gonna do something with it. It's not on me.
I'm just here to say what I'm gonna say in the microphone.
I'm just saying it, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I do my part, you know. You're not lugging kegs. I'm not turning on the camera. I'm just here doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Check. Echo Charles.
Yes.
Any questions?
I don't. Oh, how do you power your arm? You like USB?
So it's
something like that.
See the little gold things in there.
Yeah,
so that's,
yeah.
It's a magnetic charger. So it clicks
the special one. Yeah, yeah.
It lights up green, and when the little light on is green, it means it's charging. When it shuts off, it's done.
Is that carbon fiber?
It is. Yeah.
Bro, I love carbon fiber.
Go ahead, you can touch it. It's not weird for me.
If you notice the Mango Mayhem can, carbon fiber.
The old one.
The old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the new one.
Not the new one. We got denied the carbon fiber.
Hey, it is what it is. Good to see you, always.
Good to see you, too. And I'm not sure, we're supposed to talk about any of the beef stuff or no? Is that not
man.
Yet?
Yeah. We're selling some steak, man.
I was just so fortunate that you were like, hey, yo, I'm going to start this beef company. You can be a part of it if you want. And I'm like, I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't start it, but luckily, actually, Brian kind of spearheaded that thing. And he made connections with Jeff, and they put together Colorado Craft Beef.
That's right.
Colorado Craft Beef.
I have that going on too.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because the last investment I did where I told my wife to believe in me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rebelforgood.com. No.
You're trying to recover from that. Yeah, man, it's awesome. Great people, great company, great steaks. Nice. The steaks are freaking delicious. So,
did they do jiu-jitsu before, or they just tried it that time when they came to the camp?
No, I think he's kind of like into training now.
Yeah.
You know? So,
and hope everybody out there like listening knows when they come to the camp, the jiu-jitsu camp over there in Camp Laurel in Maine. I'm only 20 minutes down the road, so I come out and I heckle, you know.
We should do something like where people can swing by. You know, we'd go by the factory. We should do something like like come by or something. Come by the facility.
You know, every Friday, because I'm not sure what days you guys are doing it now, but every Friday, like the families always leave. So like it's just open, getting clean, but it's open.
Yeah.
Check it tour.
That'd be cool for people to come and check it out. Maybe like get to meet you and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, you come down to camp so people can meet you there. But
I felt bad. I didn't even go to the purple and the blue belt. You know,
you straight to black.
Yeah,
that's how you roll.
Yep.
That's
some
how
people
you
are
roll.
like, it took me 20 years to get over here. I'm like, it took me day 2.
Yeah,
you know.
So Colorado Craft Beef. Look, you need steak. Get yourself some steak, people.
There it is.
Travis, any closing thoughts, bro?
You know, look, everybody's biggest problem is their biggest problem. My problems don't outweigh anybody else's. Whatever Jocko or Echo go through, don't outweigh anybody else's, and we're all in this together. So I hope that this podcast has been fun, as well as, you know, maybe opened your eyes to new ways to think about your situations that you go through or loved ones go through. And if you want to get the book Bounce Back, by all means, go ahead. But if this is enough information, take it and run with it, because you got legs to do that. I got running legs too. It just takes me a while to put them on.
Well, I can tell you that if you got something out of this podcast, you should definitely get the book, because the book has infinitely more information, infinitely more stories, details that are really going to help everyone out. So, yeah, man, get the book. And Travis, man, thank you. Once again, it's always an honor to be able to talk to you, be able to have you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for writing these books. Both these books are awesome. And, you know, thanks for your service. Thanks for your sacrifice. Thanks for the service and sacrifice of your family. And most of all, bro, thanks for being an inspiration to everybody.
Well, I appreciate you. You guys are so awesome. You say nice things. I'm telling you what, he's got the secret sauce, old Big Mac over there. But on top of that, I will say I appreciate the fact that you have the book and it's all like went through and highlighted, because I talked with Jenna and I said, hey, so yeah, she's like, you gonna come promote your book and come down? I was like, yeah, absolutely. What'd you think about it? She goes, oh, I got it on PDF. I'm like, I gave Leif like the third or second edition ever handed out. He goes, yeah, it's buried on my desk. She had no idea he even had it since camp.
Oh, bummer.
So, just saying.
When are you going down there?
Well, I'm gonna try to line a few things up. So
okay, so she'll have time to read it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, she's already read that on I think PDF.
Oh, okay,
I sent her the manuscript. But the point was, I'm glad that you actually care about it. And Pete was like talking about how he cares about it, but then I talked to Leif, and he's like, "Yeah, it's on my desk. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you."
Dude, my dad was at my house. This was like a few years ago when I only had one book, the book Extreme Ownership, and like my dad was over at my house, and I don't know what he said or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, need to take extreme ownership," he said to me, and I was like, "Have you even read the book?" And he was like, yeah, I could see immediately he hadn't read it. And I was like, bro. I was like, hey, Dad, you might want to check it out before you start trying to talk smack to me.
That's like my wife, someone will say, like, oh, my gosh, your husband, when he said this in his presentation, and she just goes like, yeah. She's never seen me speak, ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she don't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care. She's heard enough.
She's out by the pool, just hanging out, waiting for me to go on another work trip. You know.
Oh, man. Awesome. Yeah, man. Like I said, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Appreciate everything you do, man. And you're my hero.
Quit it. Stop.
Thank you, bro.
Make me blush. You're my hero. You guys both are so awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bro. And with that, Travis Mills has left the building.
Yes.
And left us with some lessons and some leadership and some inspiration.
Yep.
Literally nothing to complain about on earth.
Yeah. You know which one stuck with me?
Which
like in day to day, that dog don't hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, sometimes, bro, you just gotta let it go. Mm-hmm. And you know, and I get it. And I said that thing earlier for a reason, where it's like it trickles down to your everyday life, because that's what most of us are dealing with most of the time.
And I tried to make that point at the end, like, just because you might feel like you're not going through any major problems right now, it's still, you are going through things, and these things will help you with everything that you're dealing with. And one of those things for sure is that dog don't hunt.
Even the small problems, even Travis, he does such a good job in saying, hey, I realize my situation is very extreme compared to other people's bad situations. And really, I'll even go one further and be like, hey, these principles apply to things that you wouldn't even look at and be like, oh, that's a bad situation. Just like it's a way to choose to look at certain situations if they don't go the way that you wanted them to go in that moment. Super small situations. If you just, bro, the idea, if you just take that one where that dog don't hunt, bro, the idea of just let it go, bro. Just let it go instead of looking, you know how they say, don't look behind, look forward, you know, move forward. Bro, that's a big deal when you can remember it.
Yeah.
It helps you a lot.
For sure. For sure. And when you can do it with something as severe as what Travis has been through, it means that the rest of us can do it over some much, much smaller things and medium things and big things. And that's the point that he made was like, oh, your biggest problem is like your biggest problem. Yeah. I remember that the lesson I learned from that, or the time I learned that, was with my kids. Yeah. And like I was in the teams, we had war going on and people were getting killed. And like my daughter, you know, whatever, one of my daughters was like, oh, I got a C on a test in school or whatever in third grade.
Yeah.
And my attitude, like for a split second, is like, this doesn't matter. And then I realized, oh, this is the biggest problem that she has in the world. Yeah. And this is her world. That's another thing I always try to remember. Pete, we look, essentially, are we all in the same world? Yes, we are, sure. But everyone's in their own world.
Yep.
And whatever's going on in your world is what's going on in your world. Well, the rest of the world doesn't even matter compared to what's going on in your world.
Yeah.
So especially you get those teenage years, like you're 16 years old and you get dumped by your girlfriend. Those dudes get broke up, bro.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Dig it. Mm-hmm.
So for those dudes, and females too, girls happens to them too. So tons of lessons. You know, we forgot to mention that also, you know, Travis Mills was talking about all the different things that he's involved in. He's also in Jocko Fuel, by the way.
Yep.
You know, so he's one of the shareholders over at Jocko Fuel. So if you want to support Jocko Fuel, it's going to help out across the board, all aspects. Hydrate, greens. The greens, man, underrated. Maybe they're not even underrated. Just maybe I need to do a better job of telling people about the greens. Yeah. The greens are the best.
Yeah.
Hands down. We got Go RTD. We already talked about that. Mulk. Can't drink too many. Echo just pointed out. I think you got to really try, because I think if you are drinking 4 a day, you're good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, and what I really meant, because I rethought about it, the whole thing when I said it too. I was like, wait, that I don't even know if me saying it the way I did is as accurate as the message I was trying to say, given what Travis said. Because he was talking about like, oh, I want to stay slim, and when you're running a calorie deficit, right? You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Run a calorie deficit because you want to lose weight, right? The correct way and all this stuff. What I'm saying is, if you're not necessarily quote unquote focusing on a calorie deficit, or if you are focusing on a calorie deficit, but you're like, oh, I'll just drink these mokes because they're, it's better than eating like a whole freaking double burger with cheese and bacon or something like this
from the White Duck Inn,
or what have you. You just got to be careful with that, because if you're pounding 4 or 5 mokes a day because they're good, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm cleared hot.
Yeah,
I got the green light, as you guys say.
The cool thing about a moke, though, and I experienced this today. No, I experienced it last night. I got home like kind of late from jiu-jitsu, from training.
Hell yeah.
And so I had a late lunch at like 2:30. And my late lunch was just like, I was like, oh, I'm just going to have something light because we're going to have dinner in a little while. And we're going to have steaks. So I was fired up. So I'll just have a moke. So I had a RTD moke. And honestly, I had a protein cookie. I had a moke cookie. But then 3 hours go by. And it's time for a ribeye steak, by the way. So I'm fired up, and I didn't eat the whole thing. I ate like half of it,
Okay.
Got that primal beef. I was all fired up.
Yeah.
Primalbeef.com, got myself a ribeye. You know what I mean? So I'm all fired up, and it's delicious. But I was full.
Yeah.
Already full. So anyways, JockoFuel.com. Go there, get your stuff, get what you need. It's cold season coming. Get your immunity gigs back up. Get your Cold War on. Get your vitamin D. Make sure you're taking that. You can get this stuff at Wawa. You can get it at Vitamin Shop, GNC, military commissaries, AFES, Hannaford, Dash Stores, Wake Fern, ShopRite, HEB down in Tejas, been doing us right. Same with Meyer up in the Midwest, Harris Teeter, Lifetime Fitness, Shields, small gyms all over the place. Jiu-Jitsu gyms. If you want to sell Jocko Fuel, CrossFit gyms, you want to sell Jocko Fuel, jfsales@jockofuel.com. Give your clients what they need to get better. So we got that going for us. Also, you heard us talking about Origin USA tonight. Talking about Origin USA. Making stuff in America. We got factories in America. That's what we got. We don't have slave labor overseas in dangerous factory settings, breathing chemicals, dumping chemicals into the atmosphere and into the water, which is what they're doing in the clothes that you're buying if you're not buying from Origin USA. So go to originusa.com. Help the national security of this country by bringing back manufacturing. What else do you need to know? Oh, you want to know what we have? We have workout gear. We have jiu-jitsu gear. We have rash guards, gis. We have T-shirts, hoodies, heavy hoodies, light hoodies, medium hoodies, kilo hoodies, jeans, heavy jeans, factory, light jeans, Delta, boots, hats. You can just go there. Go there and get some American-made stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Help across the board. We also have another store that's been very creatively named
Jocko Store. Oh, yeah. JockoStore.com. That's the Discipline Equals Freedom branch of this whole representation thing that we're doing on the path. So, yeah, Discipline Equals Freedom. Good. All that type of stuff. So, JockoStore.com is where you get it. Also, there's a subscription scenario. Don't want to forget about that. You want a new shirt every month. New design. A little bit more, interesting type designs. Little layers in there. That's where you can get it.
Can you get the old shirts?
You can get the past shirts, yes. If you subscribe, like if you Shirt Locker, you subscribed right now, but you want you also want the shirt from last year, I don't know, October, whatever, last year, yes, you can get it.
The reason I asked that is because I believe there were some backdoor channels utilized by my children to get past shirts. And I thought they pulled some strings.
Yeah.
Which they did, apparently.
Yes, they did.
My point in saying that, though, is the designs are at a level of coolness that even my own children were like, yo.
Gotta represent that one.
Represent.
Oh, yeah. There's a few. There's a few of them. And it's interesting because it's been going on for, what? I don't know, a while. More than a year. So there's like a backlog of designs that people just kind of are not familiar with. So they'll see like me or someone, someone from the beginning days or whatever wearing would be like, hey, where'd that shirt come from? Like, oh, where did I get that shirt? Where do I get that shirt? That's where you get it. That's going to be the answer.
First world problems, good shirt.
Yeah.
The toxic productivity shirt.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So there you go. Some good shirts, subscription, shirt locker, jockostore.com, primalbeef.com. Get that beef from the Shenandoah Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Or coloradocraftbeef.com. Get that beef from the Colorado goodness. We also have underground podcast, jockounderground.com. We answer your questions. It costs $8.18 a month. That's so we can own it. It's a platform that we own. If you can't afford it, we still want you there. Assistance at jockounderground.com. Check it out. YouTube, subscribe. Psychological Warfare, get it. Flipside Canvas, Dakota Meyer making cool stuff to hang on your wall. Bunch of books. Obviously, the books for today, Bounce Back, 12 Warrior Principles to Reclaim and Recalibrate Your Life. So get this book. Going to help you with everything that you're doing. Also, the last book that he wrote, which is phenomenal. Tough as they come, man. Just check out Podcast 90, but get that book as well. And then obviously, I've written a bunch of books. You might want to check those out as well, especially those kids' books. Come on. Look, you want to stay on a crappy path and not get books for yourself. Don't want to get Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. You don't want to get Leadership Strategy and Tactics Revised Expanded Edition. Okay, that's fine. You don't want to do it. You want to stay on a rut. Okay. But don't do that to your kids or the neighbor's kids or your nephew, right? Get them the Warrior Kid books. Get them Mikey and the Dragons. That's what we're talking about. echelonfront.com. We have a leadership consultancy. We can help your business. We can help your team. We can help you in life, in everything that you do by teaching you leadership. We can come into your organization. Go to echelonfront.com to check that out. We also have the Extreme Ownership Academy online. It's extremeownership.com. That's going to help you in life. It's going to help you in business. It's going to help you with your family. It's going to help you interacting with other human beings. It's going to help you lead yourself to victory. Extremeownership.com. And if you want to help service members, active and retired, you want to help their families, you want to help Gold Star families, check out Mark Lee's mom, Mama Lee. She's got a charity organization. If you want to donate or you want to get involved, go to americasmightywarriors.org. She is helping out so many people with that program. Also, check out heroesandhorses.org. Micah Fink taking people into the dang backwoods of Montana where they get lost so they can get found. And Jimmy May's got his organization beyondthebrotherhood.org. And obviously, TravisMillsFoundation.org. You heard what he's doing. And if you want to connect with us, Travis is on Instagram. Apparently making his shorts reels.
Hell yeah.
And he's on Twitter at SSG Travis Mills. That stands for Staff Sergeant. And Echo's there as well, as am I. Echo's at Echo Charles. I'm at Jocko. Just be careful because there's an algorithm that's trying to grab you by the back of the neck and kill you. That's what's going on. So don't let it happen. Thanks once again to Travis for joining us. The ultimate human being. Honored to talk to you and have you as a friend. Thank you for being who you are. And thanks to all the men and women in the military. Thank you for your service. Especially grateful for all of the recalibrated warriors who have served and sacrificed so much. Thank you all for our freedom. And also thanks to our police and law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, dispatchers, correctional officers, Border Patrol, Secret Service, and all first responders. Thank you for your service here on the home front to keep us safe every day. And to everyone else out there, I know life is a struggle. Struggle. You're gonna face struggle, and it can be rough. It can be really rough. But don't forget that while you can't choose the trauma that you are dealt, you can choose how you respond to it. And if Travis Mills can carry on like Travis Mills carries on, then I think we can all step up every day and get after it. And until next time, this is Echo and Jocko out.